Seoul Station Druid.
See, he understood. She handed over the lunch she had made herself, specially cooked for Soho, her idol. See, he asked to be informed that if Soho was away, she really had to meet with Soho before returning to her base. Dongso promised that he would immediately let See know as soon as Soho woke up from her sleep. See, he walked away, leaving the two of them behind. Dongso and Juno really don't understand. Soho was able to tame one of Korea's best awakeners. Dongso was truly amazed by Soho's ability to attract the hearts of women. Juno turned his attention to the room. Soho was sleeping soundly in the form of a wild boar. Dongso is afraid that if Soho suddenly turns into a wyvern, their new home will be destroyed. Juno wanted to wake up Soho. Dongso forbids it. In this position, Soho becomes very sensitive. Previously, Dongso had tried to wake Soho when he was a wolf, but as a result he was almost bitten to death. Juno never imagined this could happen. Soho changed his form even in his sleep. See, he suddenly appeared and startled them both, asking if Soho is awake. See, he barges in. Dongso tries to stop her. Then they were shocked by a dazzling light, a sign that Soho had changed shape again. Soho wakes up and turns into a cat. See, he became embarrassed. Soho's changes this time were so funny in her eyes. Outside, Soo-young accidentally meets Jin-woo. Soo-young asked how Jin-woo was he better? Jin-woo felt that there was no problem with his body. Jin-woo comes there to meet with Soho, asking if Soo-young is also thinking the same thing. Soo-young really wanted to visit. She asked Jin-woo to follow her. Inside, See-hee held Soho in her arms, praising Soho's adorable form. Juno and Dongso didn't dare to comment. In fact, I'm afraid that something undesirable will happen. Soho asked why See-hee came to see him, whether he didn't have anything to do. See-hee explains that tomorrow she will return to headquarters, making her unable to meet with Soho for a while. So See-hee wants to spend the time she has with Soho. Soho tried hard to escape from See's embrace. Say goodbye again. See-hee asked if Soho would accept it if See-hee registered with Soho Guild. Of course, there is no reason for Soho to reject See-hee. Juno and Dongso were shocked again. Firstly because See-hee wanted to join their team. Secondly because Soho remains silent in See's arms. Dongso wakes up and reminds Soho that the deadline for his change is almost up. A moment later, Soo-young arrived together with Jin-woo, asking if Soho had woken up from his sleep. Dongso and Juno panicked and couldn't answer. Soo-young tried to understand the situation. The dazzling light came out of Soho's room again, a sign that he had changed again. Soho returns to human form in an innocent condition, and his face landed comfortably on See-hee's chest. Soo-young became emotional seeing Soho's unchanged behavior. Soo-young threw a box of bottled drinks, which hit Soho squarely on the head. See-hee is worried about the condition of Soho. Soo-young left in an unstable condition. Why doesn't anyone understand him? In this position, everyone will definitely blame him. Miso just watched from a distance. Dongso and Juno are sure that Soho is fine. They also asked Soho to wear her clothes. Jin-woo had come inside and greeted Soho. See-hee didn't notice Jin-woo's arrival, because her focus was on Soho. Soho asked what Jin-woo needed to come to him. Jin-woo wanted to thank Soho for his help. Soho didn't mind it, asking Jin-woo to come out because his head hurts. Jin-woo said, thanks to Soho, Jin-woo has realized that accepting help does not provide an additional burden. Jin-woo promised that he would fight even harder in the future. Soho didn't respond because he had fallen asleep again. Dongso asks everyone to leave immediately. It will be dangerous if they stay there. In an apartment, a woman is being followed by a strange man. The woman goes into her house, and leaves the man outside. But she had other guests waiting in her house. This woman, named Lee Sunak, asked who they really were. This man is a member of the Korean Awakener Bureau, Criminal Handling Division, asking who Lee Sunak really is. Because previously, Sunak had been shot in the head. The officer pointed his gun, asking Sunak to cooperate. The man who was outside broke into the house. He was too late because his partner had lost his life. Sunak is a monster disguised as a human. Returned to the Soho area, to the bureau chief's room. With a huge happy smile, the bureau chief informed his wife that he had just transferred 1.2 billion won to her account. the bureau chief asked his wife to immediately move to the Soho area as soon as she got her residence permit. This area is the safest place in the world. After finishing his call, the bureau chief wanted to relax while sipping coffee. But when he turned around, the bureau chief was surprised by the presence of Miso, who suddenly appeared. Miso reported that there was a special order from the center. Disband the joint forces and send defense troops to dungeon level 6 in Sector 5 of Seoul City. Their situation is still not safe, not only Korea but the whole world is still in chaos. The bureau chief felt tired of all the disasters that came incessantly. It's only fun at the beginning, but it's so tiring because it never ends. Miso also informed him that she was at a meeting of Awakener Bureau officials. Miso will connect it. The bureau chief received a welcome from his members who had not met for days. The bureau chief asked why the members' faces were so pale, whether there was anything more frightening than a level 7 dungeon. Members explained that Korea was in a serious situation, asking the bureau chief to immediately return to the office. News reports that there will soon be a break in level 7 dungeons in Australia. Make all residents flee using ships. In Brazil, there were 14th level 6 dungeon breaks that destroyed the city of Brazil. The residents fled towards the open sea. Next, a monster wave approaches the Amur region, in Russia. Moscow is considering attacking using nuclear weapons. The bureau chief panicked when he heard this, wondering why he had to use heavy weapons. It was explained that the scale of this monster wave had reached a level that could not be handled with ordinary weapons. The main problem here, if the monster's movement changes direction due to nuclear weapons, then the monster will move towards the Korean peninsula. The South Korean government has prepared and alerted the 1st and 3rd troops in the Paiju and Dong-Dukian areas. If the monster wave really headed south, it was believed that military power would not be able to overcome it. The bureau chief is increasingly afraid whether he should move countries. The chairman asked what the current dungeon situation was in Korea. There has been a large increase in dungeons in the city of Seoul. The inability of the Korean level 6 guild made the residents nervous. Seoul is no longer a safe place. 14 dungeons appeared in the city of Seoul on the same day. Among them, there are 6 level 6 dungeons. The bureau was flooded with requests for help to send combat teams. Another biggest problem was that all the existing guilds were having trouble dealing with problems in their territories, and were short of troops. They also received a report from the police regarding a murder in Seoul. 2 bureau members who were chasing the suspect were found dead, and the whereabouts of the suspect are unknown. This time the bureau chief's heartbeat became increasingly unstable. Ask who the suspect is, whether he is an awakener. The perpetrator was named Lee Sunak, suspected of being a vampire-type monster. This creature has been killed 3 times but came back to life. The Awakener Bureau doesn't have a protocol for fighting vampires. They had to immediately come up with a plan to deal with this chaos. The bureau chief is getting increasingly stressed. Not yet finished with the dungeon problem, and the wave of monster invasions. Now add the vampire problem. The bureau chief will return tomorrow. He will disband the joint forces first tomorrow, then head to the office. The next morning, the defense forces gradually moved out of the Soho area. From the plane, Sihi said goodbye, waved her hand and sent her greetings to her beloved Soho Appa. Miso, Suyong, Dongso, Juno and Jasik saw him off. Soho wasn't there, he seemed to be still focused on sleeping. Miso said that Suyong should also return to the detection team. Suyong refused, she asked to be sent to a crisis area. Suyong has made up her mind, she must become stronger. Miso didn't ask further, she understood what Suyong wanted. Recalling the moment they ate together, Miso asks why Suyong is so obsessed with Soho. Previously Suyong said that she was not interested in men who could give everything, but it seems Park Soho is different. Suyong answered briefly. She was sure that Soho was a man who would not die easily. Breaking news, Russia made fun of its nuclear weapons on the border of the Amur region. This action is taken to stop the movement of the monster. South Korea couldn't do anything to prevent this, because Russia did it on their own territory. The bureau chief wants to strengthen the defense wall around Seoul. Sheila Guild has submitted a request for help to the Awakener Bureau. They are overwhelmed by the level 6 dungeon which has such a short time. The solution to the problems facing South Korea is Park Soho. Only he can handle all these problems. The bureau has to do something to persuade Soho. Many parties have filed complaints because Park Soho is not moving at all. The Guild Association stated that the achievements of the Soho Guild were not commensurate with all the profits they had made. The head of the Emotional Bureau heard it. It's easy to throw responsibility at Soho. Back in the Soho area, Sukja's grandmother is enjoying the sauna with Miso. The request that Grandma Sukja had previously made had been fulfilled by Miso. And now they are really enjoying this moment. The feeling of tiredness disappears instantly. Miso gets a call from the head of the bureau, who definitely asks to persuade Soho to help solve Seoul's problems. Soho and Dongso are relaxing on a hill. Enjoy the views of the Soho area. Feeling that it's enough, Soho can travel comfortably. Currently his area had become the safest place. The 4 main members are already at rank A, but for Dongso that's still not enough, maybe because they leveled up too fast. Soho asked about the other members' activities. Jasik is training new members, Juno is focused on overseeing development. Meanwhile, monk Myungjin often went out alone. Soho asks what Myungjin is doing, is causing trouble again. Monk Myungjin just said that he was preparing his vagabond. Myungjin gathers his zombie army. Soho asked if Dongso was unemployed. Dongso is focused on editing the video, but Soho takes him north to recruit more wild animals. Soho said that black rabbits, honey bears, and wild boars look lonely because they don't have friends of the same kind. And it makes the 3 of them look close and even often fight. Dongso conveyed an idea, they should build a moat around the outer wall, which will make the defense of the city wall stronger. Dongso also advised Soho to catch some crocodiles that would guard the moat area. Hearing the name of the crocodile, Soho became excited. Is there any kind of crocodile in the north? Dongso replied that there were no crocodiles in the north. Soho denies this, but it doesn't matter. Soho immediately invited Dongso to go north. Dongso said that they couldn't go to catch wild animals. Many residents have protested because Soho is not doing anything to address the problems in Seoul. 2 level 6 dungeons appear with a break time of 27 days. Soho felt strange, why did he have to hunt in someone else's territory? Miso arrived there, and reported that the Awakener Bureau had submitted a request for cooperation. Without thinking, Soho immediately refused all requests. Miso will explain, there are some dungeons that cannot be handled without Soho's help. Suddenly, there was an explosion in the construction area. Smoke billowed and rose into the air. The explosion came from a blood crystal-powered power generator. There were several workers trapped in the fire. The injured have been successfully evacuated. They couldn't get inside because the fire was so big. Jasik arrived and asked how he was. Juno explained that the blood crystal generator exploded. They have to be careful, in case another explosion occurs. Soho has arrived on the scene. Immediately after using the water element skill, Water Vortex. The wave of water sent from Soho immediately enveloped the burning building. The 3 workers trapped inside managed to get out by Soho. Soho summoned the wyvern, which was tasked with capturing the 3 workers. Utilizing its wings as cushion, the wyvern rescued the 3 workers. They returned in perfect condition. Other workers immediately helped these 3 workers. Fire trucks and ambulances have arrived at the location. Miso and Dongso were also there. Juno wanted to examine the cause of this fire more thoroughly. According to Miso, explosions like before often occur in blood crystal power plants made by the DGB group, but the one just now was a little different. Miso will gather all the teams involved. Soho came and expressed his desire to build a large moat around the Soho area. Dongso explained that Soho wanted to strengthen their territorial defense while Soho was not there. Juno had no problem with the idea, but their financial situation was a little difficult. They're starting a massive project right now, and using up a lot of the Soho Guild's funds. Soho understands, so he will make money, but Juno felt that profits from dungeons alone would not be enough. Dongso adds that they have to find a treasure dungeon or something. Miso brings good news, she knows the location of the treasure dungeon. Level 4 dungeon, with scorpion monsters in it. There are 12 days left before the break. Many expensive items can be found there, and you can also get 4 to 5 blood crystals from each monster. They were sure that this dungeon would definitely be a struggle. It's impossible for other guilds to enter, even if they could, it would definitely be difficult to get entry tickets. Miso brings other good news. This dungeon is under the supervision of the Goryeo Guild, and coincidentally the Soho Guild received a request for cooperation from the Goryeo Guild. Currently the Goryeo Guild is lacking a combat team to clear the dungeon. Besides that, the parent of this guild is the Goryeo Construction Company, is a well-known contractor who is used to building reservoirs, rivers, and the like. Miso believes this collaboration will be mutually beneficial for both parties. Jasek agreed. He asked Soho to accept this offer, a good opportunity to test his new powers. Myung-jin arrived and expressed his opinion, if you want to test your strength, it would be good to form a team by adding new recruits to it. Juno agreed, he became very excited, but the members behind him looked scared. Miso will arrange the cooperation contract with the Goryeo Construction Company, and take care of the rest. Because everyone has agreed, and the troublesome problem has been resolved, Soho invites all his friends to go hunting. The Soho movement was immediately covered by media crew. The Scorpions dungeon raid will be carried out with a 5-person party team. The scene continues, Junho uses skills to defend the ground and the monsters on it. Jasek cut the scorpion into several pieces. Dongso's shot pierced the body of the scorpion monster. Myunjin's water dragon attack sent 3 scorpion monsters flying. But this attack was still not enough to destroy the existing monsters. Maybe use another skill, King of Nirvana. Myung-jin summons zombie monsters to eradicate the scorpions. On the other hand, Soho was harvesting blood crystals. He got 5 pieces from 2 scorpion monsters. This place is truly a treasure dungeon, making Soho suddenly rich again. In the Soho area, the moat construction project has officially begun. The foreman and Miso are discussing the area that needs to be dug. Moving north, the defense troops were on guard. They had lunch in the pouring rain. Then, their eating schedule was disrupted when they heard an approaching roar. Flares in the shot to see what's in front of them. Thousands of monsters containing orcs and their flocks have come closer. At the 3rd Squad command post, the operator reported that the first troops at the forefront had been massacred. The commander there immediately made a decision. They cannot continue to stay in this position. They will retreat to the defensive walls of Seoul City. The commander asked to immediately contact the head of the Awakener Bureau. In the Scorpion Level 4 dungeon control room, officers from the bureau came over, asking about how long it will take for Park Soho to complete the dungeon raid. There are 4 days left before the break occurs, and Soho wants to relax in the last dungeon before leaving. The bureau chief who received this report was very shocked, asking someone to go into the dungeon to report that the Soho area in Wajongbu will unite with the dust. Also convey that the safety of the Soho family is being threatened if he doesn't get out of the dungeon immediately. A huge explosion occurred in the northern area. The explosion destroyed the ecosystem there. Surveillance camera drones captured this explosion on the front line. It is suspected that what just fell was a meteor. There were 3 meteors with a diameter of 7 meters, falling near the first team area in Dongducheon. Destroys the surrounding area within a 6 kilometers radius. When this meteor shot, a very strong energy wave was detected. This meteor was caused by a monster. On planet Aruka, the skill to summon meteors has been verified. Among the ferocious and huge muscular monsters, there were monsters in human form controlling them. This creature was initially thought to be a human with taming skills, but after further investigation, it was confirmed to be a monster. And what is surprising is that this monster is a type of vampire that absorbs humans. In the north, there was a level 7 dungeon break, suspected to be a vampire dungeon. In Seoul, a murder case has also been discovered with the main suspect being a vampire. These officials discussed how to kill the vampire monster. Should I stab his heart? The answer was that the British government gave permission to all its awakeners to use weapons made of arcanite to fight vampires. Baruchamite is an artificial mineral developed by Dr. Toddler. England is currently compiling detailed information, after which it will be published to the world. If a human is bitten by a vampire, they will usually immediately die or become a slave to the vampire. 2 bureau members who became victims died. With Korea's current capabilities, it is almost impossible to stop the vampires. This monster has also spread in Seoul. This official suggested closing all entrance gates to the city of Seoul. The Korean president is considering it seriously. Is this the best solution to solve the problem? Breaking news, soldiers from the First Army have become victims of monster attacks and meteor showers. Currently all troops have retreated to the Seoul defense walls for total defense. The government has also decided that the city of Seoul will be declared under military emergency. Panic occurred among the residents, many protested why it was so sudden. The government should announce the situation that is occurring in the north, so that people can prepare. But instead announces the hour of death is approaching. Moving to the Soho area in Wojongbu. The residential area has been neatly built there. Miso, who was supervising the construction, received news that his life was in danger. The bureau chief said that all the monsters had almost arrived in the Wojongbu area. All military troops have withdrawn to the Seoul defense walls. The bureau chief asked Miso to run away immediately. If he was even a little late, then all the monsters would surround the Soho area. Miso still couldn't believe it. How could it be so sudden? But the bureau chief assured him that if Miso wanted to live, he had to move immediately. Even Soho will have a hard time dealing with this. Miso immediately made an announcement. Ask all workers to gather below, the evacuation process will begin immediately. Miso meets Grandma Sukja, who she has been looking for a long time. Asked Grandma Sukja to come with him. Move to gate 34. Evacuation and inspection are underway. The awakeners who were in the field started queuing to return to Seoul. Suyong was also there. The detection team was assigned to monitor the awakeners. The detection team members had also arrived there to greet Suyong, but Suyong asked them to be quiet. Officers are checking the awakeners one by one. Until it was the turn of a woman who was quite suspicious. Suyong watched with focus, not missing the slightest clue. Suddenly, the woman immediately attacked the officer. This woman is a vampire-type monster. Another officer immediately shot and hit the vampire in the head. But this monster disappeared and turned into black smoke. Suyong took a quick step, swinging her sword at the mass of black smoke. And Suyong managed to cut off the monster's head. The officers immediately burned the corpse of the vampire monster. Everyone there recognized Suyong as one of Korea's top awakeners. Suyong's sword name is Iron Spirit. This sword can eliminate all creatures with souls. A sword made from meteorite. An irregular named Jang Soon Pil, who created it, brought meteor fragments from the planet Guchon at the risk of his life. Suyong asked all his team members to prepare all the equipment needed. Suyong asked the officer at the guard post if the residents from the Soho area had returned. In the name of Lee Sukja and Kim Misu. After checking, the officers could not find the names of either of them. Suyong panicked. She immediately called Miso to find out where he was. On the other hand, Miso is seducing Sukja's grandmother to leave. Because the grandmother refused, the grandmother could not leave the house without guard. Soho and Juno haven't returned yet. Miso received a report that all the workers had been successfully evacuated. Then Miso and the team were surprised by a black shadow approaching. It looked like black smoke that was approaching quickly. And it turns out, this black blob is a group of attacking bats. Miso ordered all the members to close the windows. But this is useless, because bats break through so easily. Bats bring a car to break through walls and glass windows. Miso looks fine, but Grandma Sukja has an injury to her back. From the direction of the bat friends, 3 vampire monsters appeared approaching. Miso uses the fire bomb skill. Fireballs are shot. Miso's attack heavily injured both vampire monsters. Miso asked his members to take Grandma Sukja and run for safety. But the monsters revived after recovering their bodies. Then Miso got a punch in the face from another vampire. These monsters surrounded the Miso. They were going to eat the Miso. The mighty grandmother Sukja hit the monster with a frying pan. And as a result, Grandma Sukja actually got a warm touch on her head. These 3 monsters fight over the Miso. To make things easier, we'll call them Red, Blue and Yellow. Red and Blue continue to argue over who deserves more Miso. Yellow took over, because he was the oldest among them. Yellow ready to devour Miso. Finally the savior came. Suyong arrived with her motorbike. In one swing of his sword, Suyong attacks Blue, Red and Yellow simultaneously. Suyong immediately obliterated them until there was nothing left. On orders from Suyong, the officers immediately took Grandma Sukja and Miso away from there. But the flock of bats continued to follow and blocked their escape route. The bats also surrounded Suyong and other vampire monsters were also there. One swing of the slash again burned the vampire monster away. Then the guard wolf came to help. Their bites also burned the vampires. The combination of Soo-young and the wolf succeeded in suppressing and cleaning every vampire monster. It seemed like it was endless, the vampire monsters kept coming without stopping. Soo-young uses the defense bomb skill to blow them up. But of course it was useless, and Soo-young was surrounded by these monsters. Soho suddenly appeared and slashed the vampire monster's head. Continue by burning down every monster with your fire fairy skill. Soho is emotional, because his area continues to be disturbed by the arrival of unwanted creatures. A black mass shackles Soo-young, making her unable to move. Soo-young was captured by a vampire monster, which seemed different from the others. Checking the status window, Soho recognized that the monster that captured Soo-young was the Vampire Queen. The Vampire Queen declared that the Soho area would become her territory, which of course Soho didn't respond to. The Vampire Queen will make Soo-young an offering for all her deceased children. Soho had enough of all this nonsense, the Fire Fairy skill was ready. The attack hit the Vampire Queen's face. Soho can't just attack because it could hurt Soo-young. Soho's attack only made a small crack on the Vampire Queen's face. This shocked Soho. The Vampire Queen was able to withstand his attack. The Vampire Queen changed her form into a wisp of black smoke. Just when Soho attacked, the Vampire Queen chose to run away to escape. Soho used his fire spirit to follow and attack the Vampire Queen. The attack burned the Vampire Queen in the air, and made her form return to normal. The Vampire Queen landed very hard, falling rolling on the ground. Soho received news from the fire spirit about the location of the Vampire Queen. In an instant Soho had arrived in front of the Vampire Queen. Soho immediately checked Soo-young's condition, who was still fine. The Vampire Queen immediately recovered herself. Soho was quite happy, because he had such a strong opponent. The Vampire Queen threatened that if Soho moved even a little, she would make a hole in Soo-young's beautiful face. Soho doesn't understand the Vampire Queen's ways. Individually, the Vampire Queen is quite strong, but still uses dirty methods to save herself. The Vampire Queen introduces herself, named Zerdos Rakila Valons Viola Varkat VI, the last descendant of a fallen vampire empire. Soho doesn't care, he doesn't want to know either. The Vampire Queen admitted that previously for thousands of years no creature had ever been able to harm her. Soho was quite surprised to hear that the Vampire Queen had lived longer than him. Soho asked if the Vampire Queen knew about the wild animal planet. Previously, the Vampire Queen had received a report that 1,200 years ago, Earth was a planet whose civilization had not yet developed, inhabited by humans who are suitable as a food supply for the vampire race. The Vampire Queen asks how a human like Soho could hurt her. Soho's attack also didn't hurt Soo-young in the slightest. Soho feels that humans have developed, and also the Vampire Queen was the first creature to survive Soho's spirit attack. If only the Vampire Queen was more friendly, Soho is sure they could become close friends. Soho asks the Vampire Queen to let Soo-young go and face her directly. The Vampire Queen is curious about Soho, and how it can use spirit power. Then the Vampire Queen declares that where she is now will be her new territory, so the Vampire Queen will defeat Soho. The Vampire Queen woke up Soo-young. She had used skills to control Soo-young. The Vampire Queen asks Soo-young to clean up Soho with her sword. Soo-young was ready to swing her sword, but the aura from Soo-young's sword came out and alerted her. Soho found that Soo-young was still in her normal condition. The Vampire Queen shouted, forcing Soo-young to clean up all the creatures in that place. Soo-young didn't understand what the Vampire Queen was saying. Soo-young swung, and attacked the Vampire Queen in one fell swoop. The Vampire Queen's head had been separated from her body, plus Soo-young's attack also burned her. Soho asked if Soo-young was okay. While Soo-young didn't understand the current situation, the Vampire Queen believes that Soo-young's sword is a sacred artifact. Because the Vampire Queen can't control the Soho area, she will destroy it. Soo-young lightly kicked the head of the Vampire Queen, who kept talking about things she didn't understand. Just before it burned down, the Vampire Queen used her skill. Her index finger pointed towards the sky. The Vampire Queen insists that this is only the beginning, her people will come again to cleanse all humans on Earth. A super large meteor has been right above Soho's head, ready to destroy the Soho area. Changes were made. Soho joined the honey bear. Soho holds the meteorite and destroys it. After changing his form again, Soho used his tornado skill to clean the meteorite. Soho sends a meteorite back out of space which accidentally hits a satellite and destroys it. Satellite belonging to the Japanese Defense Agency. Panic occurred because the satellite signal suddenly disappeared and they immediately found out the cause. Soho managed to save its territory, and he also saw that something exploded in the vast space. Suyeon was really shocked, couldn't believe what she had just seen. The vampire queen recognizes Soho's abilities, which are known as divine powers, assuming whether Soho is a human with godly powers. Suyeon poked the head of the vampire queen who continued to babble. In the future, Suyeon will slash the vampire right in the mouth. Soho no comment on this action. Soho continued to ask how Suyeon was doing, was she okay? Suyeon felt it didn't matter whether he looked like a sick person. Soho gave up. Suyeon was strange from the start, so she definitely didn't feel anything. Soho thanks him for saving his family members. Suyeon asked him not to hesitate. From a distance, Soho guild members shouted for their boss. They immediately ran. They also saw a meteor fall and be thrown back into the sky. Dong-so regrets not being able to record the incident. Dong-so heard that Suyeon was kidnapped. Juno was relieved to see that she was fine. Suyeon doesn't know that she was kidnapped and who kidnapped her. Juno didn't want to prolong it. As long as Suyeon was fine, that was more than enough. Juno also reported that Grandma Sukja and Miso had been treated by the medical team. They did not suffer any serious injuries. Dong-so informs him that an evacuation order has been issued by the government. There are tens of thousands of monsters coming from the north. Juno invited them to leave immediately. The bomber had been flown to the location where the monster was. Suyeon and Soho worked together to use their tracking skills. Suyeon discovered that around 1.2 million monsters were moving towards the Seoul city walls. The distance is around 6.1 kilometers. The four of them panicked and were very surprised to hear that many monsters. Dong-so asked to leave that place immediately. But Soho had other plans. Soho asked Juno to contact the Korean government, so as not to touch his prey. And then they felt the vibrations caused by the explosions that came non-stop. Juno received news that the defensive artillery had fired automatically. The bombers have almost arrived at the location. Soho immediately turned into a golden eagle, and flew towards the monster's location. Like it or not, the five of them were forced to go to Soho. Do they have to face 1.2 million monsters? Dong-so activated his camera drone, because this is how he chose to make a live stream. Dong-so reported that the current situation in the Soho area was that an F-15 fighter plane had passed over them. On the battlefield, dozens of monsters had been completely burned by the explosion. Command received a report that 7 aircraft had crashed due to a counterattack from monsters. There seemed to be some monsters that were unharmed after receiving attacks. A giant monster that can shoot fire destroys several fighter planes at once. The government has received reports that their attacks only slowed down the monster attacks. Their military power was unable to handle all the monsters. One of the officials asked the president to evacuate all residents in Seoul. It would be dangerous if Seoul was completely destroyed. The president refused. No matter what, they had to defend Seoul. The president receives news that America has given the green light to use nuclear weapons. This news was immediately greeted with joy by all the officials there. The nuclear carrier aircraft has flown. It will be dropped in the Nojin-dong area within 1 hour 40 minutes. The effects of the explosion are estimated to have reached a radius of 4.2 kilometers. The city of Seoul will not be affected by the explosion, but the active radio could attack at any time. And of course the Soho area is there. The initial aim of developing the Soho area was to protect Seoul. They must defend the country at any cost. The president orders the activation of the iridium shield on the Seoul defense wall. On the battlefield, Soho has arrived there safely. In front of him awaited hundreds of terrible monsters. Soho placed his right palm on the ground. Aura overflowed from Soho's body. Soho uses his area skill, the Fury of the Earth. A wide-scale attack that destroys the ground where the monsters stand. Makes all existing monsters fall to the ground. Soho buried all the monsters in one attack. But giant monsters came out of the ground again. Soho attacked again with skill. A tangle of thorny roots caught the monsters. But at the last moment before disappearing, this monster beast shot its fireball. It rained on the area around Soho, where Soho still didn't move at all. Then Soho uses the fire fairy skill. Soho burned down all the monsters until nothing remained. Soho's attack was extraordinary, but is Soho okay? The government has seen the Soho action via surveillance drones. The president couldn't believe it when he saw Soho attacked with fire after causing an earthquake. Some of the officials were a little scared because Soho was too strong, but luckily they were on the same side. The president gets a report that all the monsters have been eliminated. 1.2 million monsters have been confirmed to have been wiped out without a trace. The president immediately ordered to cancel the nuclear weapons bombing. Returning to the battlefield, several monsters rose from the ground again, but Soho was still in his position. Jasek suspected that Soho had fainted. He had gone too far before. Soo-young didn't think that Soho was still human. The monsters have been getting closer to the Soho place. Psychopet Juno couldn't take it anymore. He ran off alone to help his brother. Which also made Soo-young and others aware to immediately help. They worked together to clear out all the remaining monsters. Myung-jin Monk's water dragon wiped out all the monsters at once. Moving to Busan, Okita Hero, or Lee Sungwo, has been working at a mini-market. By disguising himself as Lee Wusong, it is easier for Hero to recharge the energy of the regression stone. Hero continued reading the news, because he wanted to see developments in Korea. Smiling evilly when reading that Seoul was attacked by millions of monsters and vampires coming from the north. But afterwards I was very surprised. Soho has defeated 1.2 million monsters with the earthquake skill. Korean Hero saves Seoul with his extraordinary abilities, and also threw the meteor back into space. Hero really couldn't believe it. But he realized that Soho was a user of elemental powers. Hero guessed that it was divine power. In the previous regression, Hero heard from an old woman. There was a prophecy that said that a savior god had come to this world, coming from the distant eastern continent. This savior can use the wind, and shake the ground to destroy monsters, fulfilling all human needs. Savior with scars on his face, come to eradicate all the monsters that attack humans. Hero heard this prophecy in his 21st regression. If this prediction is true, then Park Soho is not the person because he has no scars. It could be that there are some awakeners who use divine power. Hero was sure that there must be an item that could awaken divine power. Hero remembered the red saying, which said that it was a rare item that appeared once every 1,000 years and would disappear after 10 days. Divine fruit, an item that can awaken divine power. Hero believes Soho was just lucky and accidentally ate the divine fruit. Hero thinks of a plan to seize the power of Soho. In the next regression, Hero wants to go through a major disaster with Soho. That way he can get the divine fruit and get rid of Soho. Hero is sure that everything will change in the next regression. Move to a house on the edge of a cliff. Kurosawa and Takeo were relaxing there. Read the news that the American aircraft carrier has been attacked by sea monsters. Kurosawa considered that this was good news for Japan. For the time being America would not move to help its allies. Takeo said that currently communicating with Park Soho is increasingly difficult. They couldn't just ignore it after one of their satellites was destroyed by Soho. Kurosawa felt that they needed to visit Korea, but Takeo thought it could be done. The Korean government is in disarray. Difficult situation due to incessant monster attacks can only depend on Soho. Busan wants to separate itself from Seoul and collaborate with a country that can provide protection. The mayor of Busan was very active in voicing the idea of their separation, and continued to maintain contact with the Japanese. If the Japanese defense forces can control Busan, then it is only a matter of time until Japan takes over Korea. Soon, the portal to Planet GUCHEON will open in Busan. Takeo didn't understand whether Planet GUCHEON wanted to help Japan in expanding its power. It is said that the best smith of the Namgung family on Planet GUCHEON came from Korea. His name was Jang Soo-pil. Planet GUCHEON is interested in traditional Korean sword-making techniques. When Planet GUCHEON invades Korea, Japan will benefit from it. Before their conversation had finished, a portal appeared and surprised them. From inside it came out Dr. Toddler, whose arrival was so unexpected. Kurosawa smiled happily, not expecting that Dr. Toddler would come using the portal. Dr. Toddler came with Gilbert. head of the British Awakener Bureau. Kurosawa and Takeo congratulate them on the success of this Dr. Toddler's latest discovery. This new tool can indeed take people anywhere according to their coordinates, but it can only carry 2 people. More than that and an error will occur. Kurosawa smiled evilly. It was time for them to move further for the good of humanity and form a new world order. Dr. Toddler comes to discuss many things. About Soho, regression stones, new weapons for completing dungeon level 7 as well as many other things. Move to the north of the area, to where the monsters were before. Dongso only found 1 small blood crystal in each monster. He really missed the scorpion dungeon. They started to feel tired, who knows how long it will take. Monk Myunjin's back began to ache. They had no choice because of the guild's financial condition. Support from the government was also limited, and their business partner DGB Group experienced a financial crisis due to the problems that occurred. On the other hand, the Soho Guild's food production is more than enough. They will be rich as long as they can sell it. In the midst of chaos like this, no one will want to buy. They should be grateful because they don't have to donate it for free. Juno asked to focus on harvesting blood crystals. Juno also asked Dongso to edit the video, in the part where Juno looks like a cruel psychopath. In fact, according to Dongso, that part is one of the audience's favorites. Dongso asks Monk Myungjin if he was the one who cleaned up the necrovile when he went missing alone. Myungjin just wants to save the souls of lost souls. The scene returns to Soho's house. Grandma Sukja is still resting. She still felt pain in her back and throughout her body. Especially her mental trauma, Grandma Sukja feels useless at her current age. Miso put Grandma Sukja's medicine on the table, and the chef who would help her would come the next day. Miso had come out and met Suyong, who was eating with Gunwoo. Miso reported that Grandma Sukja's recovery was very slow. According to Suyong, maybe her heart was hurt. Soho returned at the right time, because there was an official letter from the government wanting Miso to be handed over. Soho wonders why the government keeps doing things over and over again without stopping. Gunwoo livens up the atmosphere, thanking him for the food. Gunwoo runs away with the 2 Japanese monkeys. They will continue the game. Soho was quite interested. The Japanese monkey listened to Junwoo's orders without resistance. Furthermore, Soho received an official contract from the government which designated the Soho Guild as Guild 0. After Soho signs the contract, the Soho area will change to Soho City, no longer Sector 13. Currently South Korea consists of several independent regions, such as Seoul, Busan, Gwangju and Daegu, plus 3 medium-sized cities and 1 Jeju Island. The city of Soho will be added to this list. The city of Soho will have its own autonomy rights, and receive defense support assistance from the Korean government. Soho still doesn't understand. Suyong concludes that this is the government's way of preventing Soho from going out. Just protect South Korea. Soho became even more confused, because he had no intention of moving anywhere. Suyong emphasized that previously Soho was wandering abroad and could not be contacted. The South Korean government is worried about Korea's defense while Soho is away. Suyong also asked whether Soho was a kind person who would help everyone for free. Soho felt he only needed to ensure the security of his region, not caring about other regions. Miso assured that Soho would receive a lot of compensation for the assistance she provided. Fellow Koreans, there's nothing wrong with them helping each other. Soho agreed and wanted to sign the contract immediately. Suyong reminded him to read the contract clearly. Soho refused because Miso had explained everything well. Miso just watched their household quarrel silently. Miso made another offer. She asked Soho to accept her to work for the Soho Guild. Instantly, Soho and Suyong stopped their argument. Surprised by Miso's statement, Suyong asked if Miso was serious about this decision. Miso assured that she was a woman who had big ambitions. As one of the top officials in the Awakener Bureau, Miso will recruit many talented new members. Soho takes Miso deals. Suyong couldn't say a word. Miso promised to start working in the next week. Miso also said that Suyong had been assigned to join the Special Vampire Forces unit. Suyong was again surprised to hear that. Hadn't all the vampires been taken care of? Miso is still receiving reports of murders allegedly committed by vampires. Because a special squad was formed to hunt down the remaining vampires. Miso continued that Sooyoung's assignment area was only in the city of Seoul. Sooyoung understands, she will stay tonight at the Soho place and will join tomorrow. Soho offered to add another day to rest, but Sooyoung refused. Soho was worried, because she knew that Sooyoung was sick, but she couldn't force it either. Sooyoung was taking a shower and letting go of her tiredness. She felt strange, her body was a little uncomfortable. And without Sooyoung knowing, there was a bite mark on her neck from the vampire queen. The scene continues, the Korean defense minister becomes a victim of a vampire monster. Sooyoung jumped from inside the building and was ready to attack. The defense minister's condition could no longer be helped, the vampire's fangs had sunk deep into his neck. Sooyoung's attack cuts off the heads of the vampire and the defense minister at once. As a result of widespread vampire attacks, England began sending Arukamite silver bullets to its allied countries. At the Awakener Bureau office, the bureau chief begs Miso not to leave him in the chaotic situation of the city of Seoul. However, for Miso this is not a problem. The bureau chief just needs to continue working as usual. The bureau chief asked Miso to think again about her decision. Soon, Miso will be appointed as the next bureau chief. But Miso couldn't change her decision, because her goal was the Soho Guild. In her car, Miso called manager GUCHEON from DGB Group. Says that there are rumors circulating about the Soho City power plant, which uses defective products. Manager GUCHEON has resolved all existing problems. But there is still a risk if the generator is damaged again. Manager GUCHEON said that DGB Group couldn't do anything else with their current technology. It will be completed more quickly if you contact an American company. Miso continued discussing with her assistant. Miso asks if the blood crystal power generator was developed by Shilla Guild. The assistant explained that initially it was done by the Shilla Guild, but then it was completed by an American company. Shilla Guilds collaborate, but without exchanging information and technology, so the product is very limited and very expensive. Miso asked again whether this development was carried out by Professor Richard from the Tassler Company. The assistant confirmed. So that the city of Soho can grow independently and not depend on any technology. What is needed is not only equipment but also engineers, researchers, and developers who also monitor dimensional energy. Awakener researchers who are equivalent to Dr. Toddler and Professor Richard. Miso's assistant has collected the names of the relevant Awakeners and has sent them. Miso checked the list of Awakeners related to research and development. And found a name that is quite well known. Irregular from planet GUCHEON, Jang Sun Pil. Miso has arrived at Gate 34, the gate to the Soho area. Juno was already there to pick up Miso. Miso asks the assistant when she will move to Soho City. In about a month, after all the matters have been sorted out, answered the assistant. Miso said goodbye to her colleagues who had helped her a lot. The scene continues, Dong-so is reading the news. One of Shilla Guild's best Awakeners, Captain Kong was seriously injured after being attacked by a crocodile while raiding a level 6 dungeon. Dong-so gets excited, this is good news for his boss. The process of making trenches is a priority, excavation continues. Soho arrives there and asks why the work is taking so long. The foreman reported that they had tried their best, but the machine wouldn't start due to the unstable electric current. Juno also reported that restaurants and other public facilities were also experiencing problems due to unstable electricity. Soho understands, so he's going to take over and ask everyone to step back a bit. Soho went down the excavation route to help with the work. Soho uses his newest skill, Fury of the Earth. The effect is to destroy the rocks that are in the way. Soho asked for a recalculation of the work area and construction cost efficiency. Soho felt dizzy due to the use of his skills. The foreman understands, he will take care of all Soho's orders. Juno protested, he was afraid that Soho would suddenly faint. But Soho really has to speed up this work. Juno knows that Soho wants to go to planet Aruka. And make sure again that Soho hasn't changed his mind. Soho didn't want to change his plans, there were many things she wanted to ask the high elf planet Aruka. Miso arrives and brings news. They had received a request for help from the Shilla Guild. Dong-so appeared in the middle of them, he jumped freely from the top of the tree. Superhero landing. Juno was emotional, he was really shocked just now. Miso is worried about Dong-so's condition, who is doing dangerous things. Dong-so's whole body was shaking violently, the pain was endless. Jumping from a height was still too fast for him. Soho asked why Dongso had come down. Wasn't he assigned to watch over the orcs from the top of the tree? Dongso comes with good news, he has found a crocodile. Soho's expression immediately changed, and asked where it was. Located in the Shilla Guild area, this crocodile is strong enough to be able to injure the Shilla Guild member, Kong Minhua. Miso felt that this was fate. The Shilla Guild had indeed submitted a request for help to overcome the dungeon. Soho became excited, he wanted to go there immediately. Miso prevented Soho and explained his current situation. Shilla Guild is under the Shilla Group, companies that have technicians and equipment for power plants. Miso has submitted a request to provide assistance in repairing the Soho City power plant. Soho was quite surprised to hear that, how Miso works so quickly. Because of this, Miso asked to wait until their request was fulfilled. There are still 45 doors left in this dungeon with 8 days left. Even if a break occurs, then it will be a problem for the Shilla Guild. Dongso felt that the remaining time was more than enough for Soho. That's why Miso will wait for Shilla Guild to contact first because their condition is not good. Juno praised the genius of Miso. Dongso is happy that the Soho Guild has one person he can rely on. Juno was grateful that they were in the same boat. Juno also apologized for having misunderstood Miso, making Miso embarrassed. Whether the seeds of love will grow between them. A helicopter was approaching them. Miso said that this helicopter was a gift from the DGB group, as a form of apology. From inside, the glasses came out. Bureau members who have adventured with Soho in Dungeon Level 4. Miso introduced him again, Glasses named Seo Minso, a member of the portal handling team from the Awakener Bureau office. But now Miso has officially recruited Glasses to join the Soho Guild. Miso continued to report that the Shilla Guild had provided news that the agreement had been agreed. Soho decided to go alone. Soho asked that the ditch be filled with water because it would be used as a habitat for crocodiles. The three of them wish Soho the best. Minso guarantees that their journey will be safe because he is a reliable pilot. The helicopter has departed for the crocodile dungeon. Juno and Dongso were worried about the safety of Minso. Because he was still in D rank, they were afraid that Soho would provide special training. Juno asked if Jasek had given news to Miso because he had been gone for 1 week. Jang Sun Pil is the person Jasek wants to meet. So Jasek is trusted to look for his whereabouts. Miso had called him this morning, but Jasek didn't respond at all. On the other hand, Jasek, who visited Jeonju City, was enjoying bibimbap. Don't forget to drink soju too. Juno feels that they need to hire a professional to find Jang Sun Pil. Juno asked Jang Sun Pil was a forger, if he could handle the power plant. Miso explained that Guchon planet's forging technique was very different from Earth's. With his abilities, Jang Sun Pil could be on par with Dr. Toddler. Jang Sun Pil got the nickname of forging the heavenly sword because of his abilities. Perhaps he is superior to Dr. Toddler's in handling dimensional energy. Dongso couldn't believe that there were such great people in Korea. For Miso, there is no one more suitable to occupy the position of chief researcher in Soho City than Jang Sun Pil. The helicopter carrying Soho has crossed the Soho City area. Minso praised the beautiful city of Soho. In the past, the earth was this beautiful, but now the earth is like a giant dungeon. With so many monsters continuing to attack non-stop, plus dungeon breaks keep happening, making humans increasingly cornered, and the earth's environment has changed. Soho tries to understand what Minso say, if the earth is a dungeon. So to stop it, Soho must look for an answer to all the events on earth. Maybe the high elf planet Aruka knows the answer. The reason for the great disaster and the emergence of the dungeon. Also the incident that happened in Soho, and the disappearance of hundreds of Soho wolves. Soho asks Minso where the portal to planet Aruka is. In Asia, the portal is on Jeju Island. Soho didn't expect the portal to be that close. And this is the first time Soho has heard of this. Minso said that this was the highest secret that only state officials knew about. If this information becomes known to the public, there will be big chaos. Because the distance is quite close, Soho plans to immediately head to Jeju and launch to planet Aruka, after securing a sufficient number of crocodiles. Moving to Busan, Hiro was walking after finishing work. Hiro felt it was time for him to move, and left Busan. wants to go to America, because their hero's safety can be more assured. In addition, due to the large number of displaced residents, it would be more profitable to replenish the energy of the regression stone. America has enough strength to handle the emergence of a level 7 dungeon. Apart from that, Hero can gather information about Soho more accurately. Feeling that this plan was the most appropriate, Hero decided to immediately move to America. Back in Seoul, Soho has entered the dungeon along with Minso. Minso protested. Why did he have to come in? Even though he was only ordered to deliver to Soho. Not giving an answer, Soho actually felt that this dungeon was very familiar. Minso found saliva dripping down his face. A group of lizard monsters are ready to eat Minso. The 3 monsters had swung their weapons. Soho immediately used his skills, entangled the tree roots and caught the 3 lizard monsters. Minso lay limp on the ground, his soul shaken by the incident just now. Soho asks what Minso is doing, asking him to finish off the 3 lizard monsters. Trying to stabilize his position and catch his breath, Glasses took the weapon. 1, 2, 3 swings of Minso sent all 3 lizard monsters to another world. Minso is so happy he can defeat this monster beast, hoping Soho notices him. But on the other hand, Soho has defeated so many lizard monsters. Soho asked Minso to finish off every monster that could move, and don't forget to harvest the blood crystals. Minso could only nod. He became increasingly fascinated by Soho after not having an adventure together for so long. Soho found a scratch mark on the trunk of a large tree. Soho remembered that it was the marker of the black cat Kuro. But why are there traces of Kuro in his territory? Soho felt this was really strange, and Minso didn't understand what Soho was saying. Recognizing that this was his territory, Soho remembered that in the past Kuro had never invaded his territory in more than 100 years before he returned to Earth. Minso is getting confused. Who is Soho talking about? Kuro, one of Soho's colleagues and opponents who has always accompanied him throughout his long life. Soho felt that maybe Kuro had come looking for him in this area. It hasn't been half a year since Soho returned to Earth. What exactly happened to this forest? Maybe Soho can get an answer if he looks at the memories of all the plants in the forest. Soho uses the forest memory skill. Recordings of past events enter his head. Soho sees the destruction of the planet, which receives an incessant shower of lightning. Then a portal appeared that was so big and scary. The recording stopped there. Soho is confused by all this information. Soho was sure he had seen a clue, but it was still unclear whether this was because his skill level was still low. Minso shouted, trying to alert Soho, because there was danger approaching. Behind Soho a lizard monster has appeared. But Soho easily caught the lizard monster. Found that the armor used by the lizard monster was made by a master smith. Soho doesn't know where this armor was obtained, but what is certain is that the lizard monster is not worthy of wearing this armor. Soho burns the lizard monster down until nothing remains. Don't forget to take the blood crystal. Soho gave it to Minso, and invited Minso to see where he used to live. Minso accepted it. It was an honor for him. They arrived at a very large old tree. It's been a long time since Soho came to this place, where he used to live. This tree is the main tree or center of the forest. Soho goes up the tree, because the house is at the top, asking Minso to follow him. After arriving at the top, Minso had no idea that such a place existed. Seeing such an extraordinary view, Soho usually visits this place when he is bored with his life in the cave. Minso finds an ancient weapon there, which he thinks is an artifact. Minso recognized that the stone knife was perfectly crafted, an artifact from the Stone Age. Soho felt old memories with that weapon. Primitive dagger, hammer, and arrow. All traditional weapons made before civilization was discovered. Soho is shocked to find out he made all these weapons before civilization existed. If so, then the armor worn by the lizard monsters is equipment made after civilization existed. Assuming whether the planet where Soho was stranded experienced such rapid progress after he passed through time and space. Does this indicate that Soho will no longer be able to meet its wolf pack? Minso got a bad feeling. Previously, when something like this happened, Soho suddenly disappeared and went who knows where. Minso should prevent that from happening again, by distracting the Soho. Minso shouted, pointing towards the river and stating that he saw a crocodile in the river. Minso plan worked. Soho's attention returned to the crocodile. Soho and Minso watched the river so calm. Minso suggests attracting the crocodile's attention. Soho praises the genius of Minso, which makes Minso so embarrassing. Soho uses Minso as bait. Hang it upside down to attract the crocodile's attention. Minso panicked. He was scared. He felt like this was too much for him. Soho asked him to calm down. Soho saw something moving. Thought it might be more effective if the Minso went underwater. A crocodile has opened its mouth to eat the helpless Minso. The arrow shot from Soho hit the target. Soho is truly nostalgic, his arrows are still as strong as ever. Minso screamed for Soho to pull him, he couldn't stand it anymore, he couldn't even wave his hand. Soho came down, and stood on the upside-down crocodile. Minso asked him to immediately tame the crocodile. Looking at the information window, this crazy crocodile was at B level, with quite high dimensional energy, 546 points. With Soho's current level, he can immediately tame the crocodile. Soho also likes this crocodile. Minso asked Soho to do it immediately, because a group of crocodiles had come towards them. Soho didn't expect it at all, joking whether Minso have the same skills as monk Myung-jin. Soho has tamed the crocodile, and is now fully under his control. Soho was very happy. I didn't think riding a crocodile like this could be so fun. Minso begged to be released, because his role as bait was enough. Soho refused, because according to Soho, Minso were much safer in that position than anywhere else. Because the land on the edge of the river is also full of crocodiles. Soho uses the water vortex skill to randomize the group of crocodiles. Minso felt that this was still not enough, asked Soho to use the tornado skill. Soho immediately used his tornado skill to fly the group of crocodiles into the air. When he fell, Soho immediately tamed all the crocodiles in one fell swoop. Just as the crocodile was about to fall to the ground, Soho opened its portal to send the crocodile back home. Right in front of the workers who had filled the trench with water, dozens of portals opened. The workers ran away in fear, because right above them dozens of crocodiles appeared from inside the portal. In the dungeon, 2 crocodiles approached Soho again. Makes Minso rebel in fear. Soho discovered that these 2 crocodiles were at S level, making him even more excited. The crocodile started attacking Soho, and Soho blocked the crocodile's bite with his hand. Using the crocodile, Soho threw away the other crocodiles so easily. The 2 crocodiles were flown away from their previous position. Soho jumped after the 2 crocodiles, leaving Minso behind in a panic. Both crocodiles crashed and Soho landed very comfortably. Soho asked the 2 crocodiles to obey him. That way Soho would spare their lives. After that, the 2 crocodiles were sent back to the Soho area. Landed so hard on the excavator. In the dungeon control room level 6, a member of the Shilla Guild went up, because Soho had not yet come out. For Park Soho, he should be able to complete this dungeon in just a few minutes. The operator replied that the solution was taking so long because Soho was looking for crocodiles. Soho was caught on camera leaving the dungeon, but then he went back in. Minso can only accept his fate. Not long after, dozens of crocodiles arrived again, raining down on the ditch area of Soho City. Juno immediately called Soho, filed a protest because the number of crocodiles had exceeded 800, and this caused panic. Breaking news, Soho has successfully completed the Shilla Guild level 6 dungeon in Sector 2 of Seoul. What was even more surprising, were Minso. Previously he was in rank D, but after accompanying Soho for a few days, Minso rose to rank C. Captain Kong, who watched this news, couldn't believe it. Soho really is a government agency, and everyone around him is a member of the bureau. At a guild office, C reported to her superiors that she was leaving. She is ready to pay the full fine for breach of contract. C asked how much the fine was, she would pay it immediately. The boss couldn't say anything anymore. C is the best awakener of the KH group, makes no sense and suddenly decides he wants to leave at a time like this. Straightforwardly, C stated that she would join the Soho Guild. The boss said whether C wanted to be the government's dog. There were many rumors that most of the Soho Guild's profits would go into the government's pockets. The Soho Guild is just a broker who gathers strong awakeners in Korea to support and strengthen the government. C doesn't care, she entered the Soho Guild just because of Park Soho. The boss couldn't say any more. C was sure she liked Soho. Because of that, she asked the boss to let her go. The boss can't stop someone who acts out of love. He will let C out on one condition. C will be exempt from all existing fines as long as she can develop 5S rank awakeners. For that it will take a long time. It takes years to raise 5 awakeners to rank S in dungeon level 5. The boss said that after being able to take advantage of the level 6 dungeon, they had received full rights to the level 6 dungeon in Incheon. C thought about it carefully. If she chose several rank A awakeners who had the potential to undertake level 6 dungeon raids, then it wouldn't take long. Since there will be a void when C leaves, C should at least be a little responsible for that. If C accepts the offer, boss will immediately prepare everything she needs. Back in the Soho area, Gunwoo and the 2 Japanese monkeys have jumped from the tree. Free fall into the water pool that has just been created, making the crocodiles panic and climb onto land. On the other hand, Soho has just used his skill, Fury of the Earth, opening a route to connect the Jungnation River with the moat in Soho City. Finally, the ditch work project in the Soho area has officially been completed. This way Soho can be calmer. Soho wanted to throw a party, and Juno had prepared an event for everyone. Suddenly, Sooyoung arrived on a motorbike heading to Soho. Sooyoung greeted while taking off her helmet. Juno greeted him kindly, while Soho asked if Sooyoung had eradicated all the vampires. Sooyoung had left the Awakener Bureau, so she asked Soho to accept her as a member. Soho didn't give an answer, and Juno reluctantly agreed. Without hearing a definite answer, Sooyoung immediately left that place. Juno was very surprised by this. Did he have to tell Miso and the bureau chief? Soho said it wasn't necessary because they would already know. Juno asked if Soho would soon be leaving for planet Aruka. Soho sticks to his plan, asking if Juno is capable of looking after their house. Juno will do various things to protect the city of Soho, but he was more worried about Grandma Sukja's condition. Grandma Sukja's condition has not fully recovered since the vampire incident at that time. Soho asked his brother to calm down, because Grandma Sukja's recovery was only a matter of time. The current Soho area has been divided into several locations: Red City, Blue City, Purple City, and Yellow City. The train line to get there has also been connected. The World Tree is the center of the Soho area. In her office, Miso is thinking about a way to find the right person to help her manage the Soho area. Her assistant came to bring coffee. Her assistant now works for the city of Soho. Miso asked how Sukja's grandmother was doing. The assistant answered that the grandmother was still locked up in her room. Miso also said that the shipment of power generator spare parts from the Shilla Guild would arrive this afternoon. Ask an assistant to check and supervise the installation process. The assistant had also heard that Sooyoung had joined the Soho Guild. Miso explains that Sooyoung was fired after slashing the head of the vampire and the Minister of Defense. The assistant regretted this. The Awakener Bureau seemed to have experienced a setback. It was as easy as firing one of Korea's best awakeners. It seems that many bureau members are dissatisfied with the current Awakener Bureau policy. The bureau chief looked very troubled after being left by Miso. Minso has returned with Miso orders. In a suitcase there is a memory stone. Minso borrowed this stone from an acquaintance. They can use it with a time limit of 2 weeks. Then after that, Miso got a call from Jasik, who had found the location of Jang's Sun Pill. A huge celebration is taking place. Fireworks fill the night sky in Soho City. Soho and Juno are relaxing in the Purple City. Soho gets a call from Miso, which definitely asks Soho to come back because Jang's Sun Pill has been found. Elsewhere, Jasik is talking with Jang's Sun Pill. Jasik said that he had contacted Soho, asking Jang's son to fulfill his promise when Soho arrived at that place. Jang's son laughed out loud. He didn't believe everything Jasik said, saying that if Soho is really the boss of Jasik, then Jang's Sun Pill is Lee Sun Woo's son. Soho and Juno are talking with Miso. After a long time, Jasik finally managed to find his target. Jasik heard that Jang's Sun Pill liked to drink, so Jasik focused his search on the food and beverage district area. While walking, Jasik heard and saw a commotion. Jang's Sun Pill was kicked out of a bar because he never paid. The bar owner threatened that if Jang's son came again and made a fuss, he would immediately be reported to the police. As long as Jang's son could pay his debt, he was free to come at any time. Jang's son could have bought all those places when he sold an item he made. Jasik came and offered him to drink together. Jasik needs a friend to chat with. Jang Sun has never rejected an offer like this before. Their hands held each other tightly. And that's when Jang Sun panicked and let go of Jasik's hand. Asked Jasik to leave and not bother him anymore. Soho didn't expect that Jasik would receive such a response. Juno also doubts whether Jang Sun Pil is the right person. Miso assured. Jang Sun is an awakener with extraordinary abilities who was able to maintain the nickname Heavenly Sword for 8 years on planet Guchon. Miso is also confident that Soho will get answers after meeting Jang soon. Soho didn't comment further. He asked whether Miso got the memory stone he asked for. Miso handed it over. They had 2 weeks to use it. Soho immediately took and looked at the memory stone. Soho held the memory stone and closed his eyes. Soho was again met with dozens of eyes watching him. Soho asked if Juno could guard their territory, because Soho will soon leave to meet Jang Sun Pil. Juno asked Soho not to worry, plus now Suyong was with them. The next day, Suyong came to the office and met the assistant. Suyong asked where Miso was. She couldn't find it anywhere. The assistant answered that Miso and Soho were going to Jeonju. There's a little business there. Suyong understood. She continued asking where the best cafe in Soho was. The scene continues. Suyong is relaxing in a cafe in the Purple City. Suyong really didn't expect it. This city had just been built but was already so busy. The waiter came with Suyong's order. The waiter explained that this crowd was not only residents of Soho City, but also tourists who kept coming to visit. When they come to Soho City, tourists are greeted by friendly Soho forest fairies. They feel like they are in a fantasy world. The tourists admitted that they had never visited such a beautiful place before. Tourists can also ride a golden train to explore the Soho area and see all the flora and fauna there. After the station at Wejengbu was connected to Seoul, more and more tourists visited the city of Soho. Suyong really wasn't used to this situation. In the forest, there was an orc warrior who was walking leisurely. Then the orc warrior was attacked by 3 necroviles who had restricted his movements. Necrovile immediately bit into the orc warrior's body. Make orc warriors infected and turn into necrovile. From within the leaves, Myungjin used the King of Nirvana skill. Myunjin's zombies attract orcs into Myunjin's portal. Myungjin had collected 6,287 necroviles, 3 orcs, and 65 goblins. The virus spreads faster in proportion to the number of necroviles that attack. Myungjin wanted to visit the orc territory. The helicopter carrying Miso and Soho has departed for its destination. Soho asked where Myungjin was. Miso replies that Myungjin is providing free guidance to those who are lost. Miso asked about Grandma Sukja's condition, whether Grandma Sukja had experienced awakening. Soho had already expected it. It happened at their old house. It was evening. Soho saw Grandma Sukja alone in the kitchen. Grandma Sukja was filled with an expression of surprise. What really happened to the grandmother? Soho walks into the kitchen and asks what happened to Sukja's grandmother. The grandmother's hand was cut while cutting cabbage. Grandma was disappointed with herself, who was aging, becoming weaker and less alert. Lately, Grandma Sukja's vision has become blurry, her hands keep shaking and her back always hurts. Grandma Sukja feels like she has no energy. Soho immediately heals Grandma Sukja's finger, asks Grandma Sukja to rest, suggests food delivery so that Grandma Sukja can focus on taking care of Gunwoo. But Grandma Sukja refuses. Soho is attracted to the mouth-watering cheese slices, but Sukja's grandmother forbids it. It looks delicious, but this piece of cheese has been poisoned by Grandma Sukja. Because there were so many rats and cockroaches circulating, Grandma Sukja took decisive action. After a few days, Soho saw Grandma Sukja carrying her laundry so easily and smiling happily. Soho was curious and asked what happened that made Grandma Sukja so excited. Grandma replied that the medicine Juno bought was very effective in restoring her body's condition. Grandma Sukja felt that there was a thief stalking her. Grandma Sukja gets into a horse stance, using her skill, the kitchen knife dance. Grandma Sukja threw her kitchen knife at the thief. The targets are honey bears and black rabbits who steal bread and fruit. That's when Soho found out that Grandma Sukja had been resurrected. The reason is, perhaps among the many rats and cockroaches circulating, some have awakened and become victims of Grandma Sukja. Miso, who heard this, really couldn't believe that Grandma Sukja had become an awakener. According to Soho, this is normal, otherwise Grandma Sukja would have died when she was beaten by the vampire at that time. Miso felt strange. Why did Grandma look so desperate lately? Even though she had received healing from Soho, Soho just smiled and started to tell the story. At that time, Soho was healing Grandma Sukja with his forest fairy. Grandma still felt pain in her waist. Soho asked if it hurt that much. Soho felt that Grandma Sukja would recover soon because of his treatment. Grandma Sukja didn't answer, and Soho seemed to understand what Grandma Sukja was feeling. According to Soho, Grandma Sukja's illness will heal by itself when Grandma Sukja can accept her destiny as an awakener. Minso brought good news. In 5 minutes they will arrive in Jeonju. Back in Soho City, a woman screams because she is about to be attacked by a vampire. Suyong jumped and kicked the vampire's head. Vampire felt a pain in his head, screaming that it felt like he was going to die. Suyong points her sword and asks who the man really is. The man knelt down and begged for forgiveness, admitting that he was only pretending to be a vampire. Behind Suyong, the woman who was the victim was doing a live stream. The woman and the man were YouTubers who were taking content in Soho City. They are executing a request from their subscribers. Many other visitors are disturbed by their actions. Soho's visit to Jeonju was welcomed by local officials. Soho and Miso are also invited to enjoy Jeonju's signature bibimbap. While Suyong's previous actions have been in the news, the troublemaking YouTuber couple has been kicked out of Soho City. They made content about the security level of Soho City. Soho and Miso are already in the car. Miso says that Suyong was on the news for beating up a troublemaker. Soho doesn't understand why Suyong immediately beats up someone on her first day at work. Miso is sure that Suyong is bored. Besides, Suyong is the right person to be the head of security for Soho City. Soho agrees. With Suyong's attitude, this position is indeed suitable for her. Minso said that they had arrived at their destination. Miso explains that they have to walk to Jang Sun Pil's location. They also have to disguise themselves a bit so as not to cause a commotion. It could be disastrous if the residents recognize Soho, who is a Korean hero. Soho is still not used to being seen as a celebrity. Soho and Miso have walked towards their target. At the end of the road, Jasik waved his hand to greet Soho. Jang Sun Pil is also there, waiting in front of his house. Jasik kept his promise by bringing special guests. Miso greeted gently. Jang Sun really can't believe it, the famous Park Soho is now in front of him. Jasik immediately introduces Soho and Miso to Jang Sun. Miso is the head of Soho's city management. Jang Sun Pil had been waiting for their arrival and asked them to come into his house. Miso did not expect to receive such a friendly welcome, even though they came to recruit Jang Sun Pil. Jasik asked Soho and Miso to come in, he would buy snacks and drinks. Moving into the house, Soho and Jang Sun sat facing each other. Soho checks Jang Sun Pil's status. Blacksmith rank D, with skills of swordsmanship, innovation, research, and analysis. Soho asks why Jang Sun said that he had been waiting for Soho's arrival. Jang Sun replied that only Soho could fulfill his wishes. Soho doesn't understand, and asks what Jang Sun Pil wants. Jang Sun is willing to become a member of the Soho Guild as long as Soho is willing to help him get revenge. Back to when Soho fought Hero. Jang Sun watched the match at a restaurant. Visitors hope that Soho can beat Okita Hero. Although it is impossible for Jang Sun, no matter how strong the Awakeners from Earth are, they will all be defeated by irregulars from other planets. In fact, for a warrior who is considered trash in the Murim world of planet GUCHEON, he is still stronger than all the Awakeners on Earth. When the war between the Murim and the monsters on the planet GUCHEON ends, Earth will be the next target to be colonized. For Jang Sun, the Earth no longer has any hope. But the television shows the moment when Soho beats Hero up black and blue. Jang Sun is really shocked by this. Hero is an irregular who managed to survive at an unreasonable rate on the planet GUCHEON. Apart from being number 1 on Earth, Hero is also considered one of the strongest on the planet GUCHEON. Jang Sun was truly speechless seeing Soho's absolute superiority over Hero's strength. Back to the present, Jang Sun is willing to join the Soho Guild as long as Soho is willing to help him get revenge. Soho doesn't respond and chooses to leave immediately. Miso tries to stop him. Jang Sun shouted that the perpetrator had killed his beloved wife. Soho was moved to hear Jang Sun Pil's life story. Jang Sun's wife was killed in front of him by the Murim fighters. The wife asked Jang Sun to look after their child. Jang Sun could only cry, he couldn't fight or do anything else. Jang Sun begs to let his daughter go. Jang Sun is willing to do anything. For the safety of his daughter, Jang Sun is willing to make a sword following the perpetrator's request. But after completing all the requests, Jang Sun never met his daughter again. Jang Sun continues to endure deep suffering. The desire for revenge becomes his fuel to continue living. Jang Sun never forgot his pain, but he has a trauma towards swordsmen. That's why at that time Jang Sun refused Jasik's offer, because he knew that Jasik was a swordsman. Miso understands why Jang Sun Pil has been moving and hiding all this time. Jang Sun explains that he is still being sought by envoys from planet GUCHEON, convinced that no one can protect his. Soho asked if this perpetrator was a strong person, who Soho should defeat. The target of Soho is named Namgong Jang Cheon. After seeing Soho's fight against Hero, Jang Sun is confident that Soho can defeat Namgong Jangcheon. Miso strongly rejects it. Namgong Jangcheon is the head of the Namgong family. Soho asks for an explanation again. The Namgong family is one of the 3 noble families that rule the Murim on the planet GUCHEON. If Soho targets the life of the head of the family, then Soho will make the Murim world his enemy. Jang Sun is sure that Soho can disguise himself by turning into a wild animal, so no one will know who he is. Soho asked the 2 people not to worry, and Soho also didn't care if he became an enemy of the Murim world. Miso assured that this would not be a small matter if Soho was found out. For Soho, a leader's job is to protect his members and family. Soho will help Jang Sun take revenge as long as Jang Sun can prove his worthiness to join the Soho guild. Soho took a gun from his inventory. The bow and arrow he got from the crocodile dungeon earlier. Soho asked Jang Sun to analyze the bow and explain the details. Jang Sun immediately did his job. At first he thought this bow was an ordinary item that he rarely found. But after that Jang Sun found something interesting. Jang Sun asks where Soho got this bow, and Soho replies that he found it in a dungeon. Jang Sun explained that the bow was made of wood that no longer exists in this world. Soho asked how old the wooden bow was. Jang Sun's skill can estimate the age of an item up to 300 million years ago, but he can't estimate this one. Jang Sun suspects that the bow was made of birch wood, a tree that has existed for at least 300 million years on Earth. Soho was speechless, while Miso was truly surprised that the wooden bow was that old. It is true that this is very impossible. Jang Sun's analytical skills provide such details. Soho speculates that the planet he is stranded on was Earth millions of years ago. Miso guesses if this is related to the stranded planet Soho. Most of the artifacts, items, or precious stones found in the dungeon come from planet Aruka or other planets. As a returner from planet GUCHEON, Jang Sun Pil will not be wrong in examining the items. Jang Sun Pil can see more detailed item information when his analysis skill level increases, provided that his life can be protected. After the Great Cataclysm, research into dungeons continued to increase. Then the government and the Awakener Bureau forcibly closed all civilian research facilities and silenced everyone involved in them. Miso doesn't know about this event, because she doesn't work at the Awakener Bureau yet. It was also at that time that Jang Sun managed to escape from the planet GUCHEON, taking advantage of the chaotic situation in Korea to hide. Soho asks Miso what the government is really hiding. According to Miso, there may have been international pressure on this incident, and now research is only taking place in England and America. Dr. Toddler is involved in this, and there's no way he's going to explain it to Soho. Miso asks if Dr. Toddler is using Soho to test his new device. Soho can't say. Soho felt that there was something strange. At first he thought that Dr. Toddler was just a human who was interested in research. Miso could only sigh. Soho actually wanted to get rid of Dr. Toddler. Jang Sun Pil doesn't like people like Dr. Toddler. He is willing to analyze anything Soho asks as long as his life is protected. Soho again took out an item from his inventory. Soho gives the memory stone to Jang Sun Pil. Soho promises that from now on Jang Sun-pil's safety is under Soho's protection. Jang Sun is asked to analyze the memory stone. Jang Sun began the process, his eyes sharp and focused. After that, Jang Sun remembered a famous term on the planet GUCHEON: "We will carve our name in history." In the Murim world, memory stones are known as historical evidence, which are highly desired by all fighters. This stone is a fragment of a planet, which records everything experienced by its holder. It can record more than one name in it. Soho tries to conclude, does that mean the spy watching him is a planet? Jang Sun can only analyze up to that point with his current level. Soho took back the memory stone and closed his eyes. Finally Soho finds out that the spy who was watching him was Earth 7. Soho also asked Jang Sun about the 7th Earth. Currently Jang Sun doesn't have the answer. He promises to try to find the answer, but it might take quite a long time. Soho was very satisfied. Thanks to Jang Sun-pil, Soho got a little clue. Soho immediately decided to appoint Jang Sun-pil as the head of Soho City Research. Soho invites Jang Sun to come home with him. Soho will gather all the members and discuss Jang Sun's revenge plan. Miso can no longer prevent bad things from happening. She can only remind Soho to be careful. Jang Sun really likes Soho's character like this. Jasik arrives with food, inviting everyone to eat it together. After a few days, all Soho members gathered and held an important meeting. Jang Sun is truly amazed by the Soho area, a paradise on earth that he has never seen before. Soho realized that Suyong was not with them. Miso asked her to take a rest. Lately Suyong has been working hard non-stop. Soho understands. Soho starts the meeting by stating that she will go to planet GUCHEON. Dongso was shocked to hear this, and of course it would be dangerous if he went without a guide. Planet GUCHEON is a battlefield between monsters and Murim fighters, dividing the planet into two regions with their own laws. Not much is known about the monsters there, because newcomers cannot just enter. Murim fighters are also less friendly, having a very harsh and unfriendly attitude towards visitors. Soho said that Jang Sun would be his guide. Juno was curious as to why Soho suddenly decided to go to planet GUCHEON. Wasn't his original destination planet Aruka? Jang Sun gives the answer: to fix the power plant of Soho City, a meteorite is needed, which only exists on planet GUCHEON. Currently the import of meteorites is prohibited on Earth. Monk Myungjin knew the rules, so their only choice was to steal it from planet GUCHEON. Miso asks if there is no other solution to this problem. Jang Sun has conducted an inspection, and found the cause of the blood crystal power plant's failure. The materials used in the power plant's core are not up to standard. In addition, Jang Sun also doubts the quality of the materials used. To solve this problem, the best choice is only a meteorite from the planet GUCHEON. Dongso, Myungjin and Jasik fell asleep while listening to Jang Sun's long story. Soho got emotional seeing their behavior, and immediately woke them up. Monk Myungjin stated that he must come to planet GUCHEON. Myungjin heard that the Murim fighters mastered martial arts that could not be compared to Earth. This would be a good opportunity to learn the martial arts skills of the GUCHEON planet. Jasik also volunteered. Planet GUCHEON is the dream place for all swordsmen. Dongso didn't want to lose. He also volunteered to join Soho. Soho asked why Dongso came along. Dongso replied that he had a talent for stealing. Miso still remained silent and did not respond. Soho still did not tell them that his main goal was to kill a family leader. Soho asked his brother why he didn't put himself forward. Juno had the responsibility to keep an eye on the ongoing construction. Soho was a little worried if Juno was alone, but Miso felt that it would be fine as long as there was no big commotion. Soho finally decided. He will take whoever successfully completes Soho's special task. The three excited trio became very happy to hear this, believing that they could complete the special mission from Soho. Soho asked them to find an effective way, which could make Soho connected to Earth while on planet GUCHEON. This is necessary to prevent bad things from happening, and they can contact you directly. The excited trio became even more cheerful. As long as Soho promised, they would try their best. Soho promised, asking them to give a satisfactory answer. Juno excused himself, because he had to supervise the construction of the Jungnation Bridge. Miso reminds Soho that the situation from now on will become more dangerous. Miso also increases the vigilance and security of Soho City. A little worried about Juno, who lives alone in Soho City, Soho asks Miso to calm down. Soho is sure that the excited trio will not be able to complete their special task by the specified deadline. Soho immediately went to invite Jang Sun to eat together. Moving to a restaurant, the food has been served. Jang Sun also stated that he has stopped drinking alcohol since entering the Soho Guild. Jang Sun asks Soho if the energy absorbed from monsters and dungeons is called dimensional energy. Soho confirms that it is. That is how to become an awakener and level up. Jang Sun explains that on planet GUCHEON there are two ways to level up. First, just like on Earth, by killing monsters, the Murim fighters call it merit. Then the second way is to concentrate internal energy. Basic training method to control ki inside the body, a technique famous in the planet GUCHEON. Soho was confused to hear this, merit and ki. This was the first time he had heard this. Jang Sun will show you what inner power is. Jang Sun puts a can of Coca-Cola in his hand. Then the Coca-Cola vibrated violently, until finally Jang Sun exploded the Coca-Cola can and spilled its contents. Soho is very impressed, asking if Jang Sun used magic. The previous one is ki control. It will be stronger in proportion to the user's level. If you study diligently, you can at least reach rank D like Jang Sun. This is still the early stage. On this planet GUCHEON is just a child's play. Only Murim warriors at the level of S rank awakeners can walk without worry there. Above them are warriors called masters. At the SS rank level, there are dozens of them in the three noble families. And for Namgung Jang Cheon, who is the head of the Namgung family, he was given the nickname of Great Master. Those who have mastered the control of ki and external energy to the ultimate level are given this title. Namgung Jang Cheon practices Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. And as a result, the tree in front of him had disappeared without a trace. Soho, who heard this story, was amazed, not expecting anyone to be able to use such a powerful technique. Soho asks Jang Sun to compare the great masters with the levels on Earth. It was hard for Jang Sun to measure his level because there was no one that strong on Earth. Maybe it was on the same level or higher as UU rank. Soho could imagine it. Hero in his monster form was in U rank. Jang Sun emphasized that the Great Master is not an invincible entity, he can still fall if faced with a high-level assassin. Soho understood, so even a ferocious monster could be killed in front of insects. Soho was really looking forward to meeting the Great Master. Jang Sun was truly amazed. Soho was not afraid at all, instead he became even more excited. Jang Sun had high respect for Soho. Soho continued to ask about the nickname Heavenly Sword that Jang Sun holds. With that title, isn't it possible for Jang Sun to gain respect on the planet GUCHEON? What actually happened to Jang Sun's family? Jang Sun's wife is a noble's daughter from the Central Plains. They both fall in love at first sight and decide to get married. After that they live in the countryside. At that time, the most beautiful moment in Jang Sun's life, having a beautiful wife and an adorable daughter. But this happiness did not last long. The Murim world is very strict on laws and regulations. There are high consequences for a commoner to marry a noble family's child and have children. Even the wife's family is also a victim of this. This moment happened when Jang Sun's daughter was 3 years old. Jang Sun managed to survive thanks to his nickname as the Heavenly Sword. He managed to save his life and the princess. But until now Jang Sun doesn't know whether his daughter is still alive or not, because he was never allowed to meet her. Soho understands, and Soho will take responsibility. Soho will avenge Jang Sun. Jang Sun thanks him. Suyong appears there and accidentally meets Soho. Soho heard that Suyong was resting due to fatigue, but it seems she is fine now. Suyong greets Jang Sun and they get to know each other. Suyong is sure that Jang Sun is the one who made the sword. Jang Sun was very surprised to see the sword, and couldn't imagine why Suyong had this sword. Suyong explains that the previous owner has passed away and now she is the third user. Soul Blade, one of 6 swords made by Jang Sun which he worked on with feelings full of revenge and anger. This sword is able to attack the soul of someone who is slashed and also affects its user. Somehow, this sword became cursed and causes anyone who wields it to die. Suyong is disturbed by the sword's screams that make her ears hot, asks Jang Sun to fix it. The soul blade will scream like crying when it is far from its owner or when a creature approaches its owner. Soo-young really couldn't work in peace because of her constant screaming. It made her unable to rest in peace. Jang Sun understands, she will check it and promises to fix it if necessary. Soho asked if Soo-young had started to feel something strange like wanting to bite someone lately. Soo-young was disturbed to hear that. Soo-young teased back, that she wanted to bite Soho right then and there. Soo-young changed the subject, asking if Soho was serious about going to planet GUCHEON. Has Soho forgotten when he arrived on Earth and slept for 10 days? Soho is at risk of losing his dimensional energy when passing through the planetary portal. Will Soho still go with this condition? Jang Sun is shocked to hear whether Soho is in danger if it is like this. Soho was sure that things would be different when he returned to Earth. Soo-young reminded that there was no way anyone on planet GUCHEON would be willing to take care of Soho when he passed out. Plus lately Soho has also been overusing his powers. Jang Sun intends to find a way to solve this problem. Soho asked him to relax, because right now they also had other things to finish. After a while, the news showed that the Yongna-cheon bridge had been officially opened to the public. Then there is the action of the Soho crocodiles eating the lost goblins. Other news shows the Chinese defense wall that was successfully breached by a monster attack. Then Australia, which has been taken over by undead monsters. In the Pacific Ocean, near Hawaii, Hiro is swimming in his monster form. Hiro asks all the monsters in the ocean not to bother him, because his destination is America. Back in the Soho area, Dongso is thinking of a solution to Soho's special assignment. Jasik is training the young cadets of the Soho Guild, inviting them to discuss to find the answer to the assignment from Soho. A few moments later, Soho had received answers from its 3 members. Together with Miso, Soho checks the 3 answers. Jasik proposes to develop and bring an interplanetary cell phone. Dongso will look for an awakener with interplanetary communication skills. Meanwhile, Myung-jin proposes a call near the portal of the GUCHEON planet. These 3 answers give Soho and Miso a headache. None of them really provide a solution. Not long after, Soho and Wyvern visited Myung-jin's temple. The head monk welcomed Soho. Soho asked if there was any disturbance from the monsters. Life here is peaceful thanks to the care of the Soho livestock and the forest fairies, allowing the residents to live comfortably and peacefully. Monk Myung-jin also often visits. Gun-woo is undergoing training with other young monks. Jang Sun is also there. Afterwards the little monk played with the wyvern under Gun-woo's command. Myung-jin suspects that Soho's arrival is because he has agreed to his idea. Soho has not decided who he will choose. Gun-woo, who heard it, became curious and volunteered to try it. Soho explains that he is looking for a solution to communicate with Earth while on the planet GUCHEON. Gun-woo replied that they could use the phone, but Soho explained that the cell phone could not be used because there was no signal. Gun-woo noticed the little monk playing with the wyvern. After that, Gun-woo seemed to get a clue that would definitely shock him. Gun-woo has put forward his idea. Soho and the team are ready to implement it. Miso, Dongso, and Juno have made preparations according to Soho's instructions. Juno writes something on Baekgu's head. Then Soho calls Baekgu using his portal. In Baekgu's head was a message for Soho. Gun-woo's idea really worked. Miso uses a special ink made from monster blood, which shouldn't disappear after passing through the portal. Soho sends Baekgu back stating that the mission was successful. The excited trio became desperate. They were defeated by the little boy. Their dreams ended here. A moment later, Juno strictly forbade his son from going to planet GUCHEON. Planet GUCHEON is a dangerous place especially for children. Plus, Gun-woo hasn't awakened yet and can't go through the portal. Juno wants his son to grow up normally and live a normal life. Jang's son stated that Gun-woo has awakened. Gun-woo became an awakener while undergoing key training with Jang's son in just 3 days. According to Jangson's analysis, Gun-woo is a natural genius, a child prodigy who is only born once in 1,000 years. Juno still couldn't accept it and refused vehemently. Soho confirmed that he had checked himself. Gun-woo had become an F rank with the fortune skill. Even so, Juno still couldn't let his son go to a dangerous place. The excited trio also strongly refused. From any angle, this was inappropriate for Gun-woo. They volunteered to join Soho. Jang Sun explains that Gun-woo is currently suffering. Juno became more emotional. There was no way a child under his supervision would experience something terrible. During the training, Jang Sun observed Gunwoo closely, especially the look in his eyes that showed that Gunwoo missed his mother. Jang Sun knows it because Gunwoo's eyes are the same as his daughter's. The atmosphere became emotional. Juno couldn't hold back his tears and runny nose. Jang Sun is sure, if Gunwoo is left like this, then in the future Gunwoo will become a terrible awakener who can no longer be saved, becoming a worse troublemaker than now. Juno and the trio are in a frenzy. They have to prevent bad things from happening. Dong-so is traumatized because one of the 4 million one-camera drones was destroyed by Gunwoo. Jang Sun asks them to calm down. Gunwoo can get through this ordeal as long as he can control his ki well and train with the masters from planet GUCHEON. Dong-so and Jasik work together to convince Juno to let Gunwoo go. But Juno is still reluctant because his destination is planet GUCHEON. Soho gives advice: life is like an adventure. We will not move forward as long as we are controlled by fear or the light. So Soho has made a firm decision. Soho will take Gunwoo to GUCHEON planet. At the Japanese Defense Office, Kurosawa gets word that Soho is going to the planet GUCHEON. He asks if Japan will grant him permission to enter. Kurosawa remembered his previous conversation with Dr. Toddler. Dr. Toddler knows that Soho is the perpetrator who destroyed the Japanese satellite. Kurosawa has sent an official letter requesting compensation to the Korean government. Dr. Toddler asks Kurosawa to cancel it, advises them to maintain a good relationship and not to cause trouble with the emotional Park Soho. Because of that, Kurosawa gave Soho permission to enter the portal to the planet GUCHEON. After a while, at a helipad in Soho City, Soho's departure was accompanied directly by team members. Myung-jin expressed his wish: if Soho finds a martial arts book, make sure to bring it even if it is expensive. Dong-so asks Jang Sun to bring back all the technology of planet GUCHEON that is not on Earth. Miso reminds Jang Sun, if Soho faints after passing through the portal, immediately secure his body. Soo-young warns Soho not to look at strange things, and not to faint in the middle of the road again. Soho doesn't understand what Soo-young is saying, and also asks Soo-young to take good care of her house, make sure not to bite the children. Soo-young is emotional. Juno hugged his son so tightly, eating regularly and always being alert to anything. Soho asked its members whether they were capable of maintaining the current Soho City. These 4 people worked together to convince Soho that everything would be safe and under control. Soho tests their alertness, pointing to a spot and shouting that Lee Sung-woo is there. The Soho fighter quartet immediately drew their weapons, and formed a 4-way formation. Gunwoo laughed so freely. His father and uncles were like little children, dancing. Finally, the helicopter carrying Soho has taken off from Soho City. Sukja's grandmother, who was preparing firewood, also saw them. I feel like this place will be quiet without Soho and Gunwoo. Shortly after, the helicopter carrying Soho arrived in Japan, at the GUCHEON planet portal. Kurosawa and Takeo welcomed the arrival of Soho. Takeo did not expect that Kurosawa would give permission to Soho. According to Kurosawa, if they could not tame Soho, then it was better to maintain good relations. Soho got off the helicopter, along with Gunwoo and Jang Sun. Miss Assistant was also still accompanying him. Kurosawa welcomed Soho, introduced himself and raised his hand to shake. Soho didn't respond and just ignored him. Takeo was emotional seeing Soho's behavior. Miss Assistant apologizes to Kurosawa for Soho's rude behavior. Kurosawa doesn't mind it. Soho is right in front of the portal. Gunwoo praised the portal for how beautiful it looked. Miss Assistant prays for her boss's safe and healthy journey. Gunwoo responds kindly. Takeo doesn't understand why Soho brought a child and an old man to planet GUCHEON. Kurosawa explains that the old man is the heavenly sword, Jang Sun pill. Kurosawa was convinced that something interesting would happen on the planet GUCHEON. Jang Sun takes out 3 pills, which will allow Soho and Gunwoo to understand the language of the Murim fighters and monsters on the planet GUCHEON. Soho asks if Gunwoo is ready to go. Gunwoo is really looking forward to this new adventure. Jang Sun stated that their exit was confirmed to be a battlefield between monsters and Murim fighters. So don't let your guard down. Led by Soho, they enter the portal to the planet GUCHEON. Soho wakes up in an unfamiliar place with his hands tied to a tree trunk. Soho panicked. he didn't know what was happening. His status window wouldn't come out either. Soho was getting more and more afraid that his stats would decrease due to passing through the dimensional portal. Previously, Jang Sun had explained that the portal they passed through was a little different from usual. As long as Soho wore special clothing, there shouldn't be any problems. Soho thought of the worst possibility, whether now he was weakened again. Soho remembered that his consciousness started to fade when he passed through the portal, and Soho had time to summon a wyvern at that time. So why is only Soho in its current location? Are Jang Sun and Gunwoo together with wyvern? Soho hopes they are okay. A blonde man next to the Soho greeted him, asking why the Soho was so noisy. Blonde knows that Soho is an immigrant from Earth. Since his name is not yet known, I will call him John. Yihan said that their fate was certain to be sealed once they were imprisoned in that place. But of course Soho did not want to give up on fate. Soho used all his strength to pull out the tree trunk. Soho managed to pull it out, leaving Yihan speechless. A normal human shouldn't be able to do that. Soho continues to destroy the chains that bind him, asking Yihan if he has seen any children around here. Han replied that he didn't see anyone. Yihan had been caught 2 days ago. At that time Soho was also there sleeping. There was a commotion coming from the door. A group of guards were ready to attack. Yihan panicked, asking Soho to let him go so they could help each other. Soho refused. Yihan kept begging. Soho wouldn't make it without his help, plus he didn't know the environment on planet GUCHEON. Yihan offered himself to be a guide. Soho tried to think about it. Yihan's offer was quite interesting for his current situation. Han was getting more and more panicked. Yihan's name was Dang Jinchul, the 178th descendant of the Dang clan. A first-rate master from Zhongyuan City. If Soho was willing to help him, Yihan was willing to become Soho's subordinate. Soho remembers that Jang Sun suggested finding a first-rate master to be Gunwoo's teacher. Without any trouble, Soho has found a master for Gunwoo. After freeing Yihan, Soho beats up the guards who arrived. Soho's kicks and punches took down every guard with ease. Yihan was truly amazed. Who exactly was Soho? There was no way an earthling could be as strong as Soho. Soho asked if the whole room there was a prison. Yihan confirmed it. Soho destroys every room to find Gunwoo's whereabouts. But until the last room Soho didn't find anything. Yihan said that there were no other rooms. And it can be confirmed that Gunwoo and Jang Sun were not caught like Soho. Soho has already determined his next destination, which is the dimensional portal. Soho asked John how they would get out of prison. Yihan has put all his clothes back on. Yihan will show the way to Soho. Led by Yihan, they headed towards the exit while avoiding the guards. A monster was waiting at the end of the road. Yihan looked pale seeing the creature's presence. This monster was the warden of the prison, and was a level 1 demon. Without wasting any time, Soho darted and kicked the warden in the face. Guard troops have arrived there to block off Soho. Likewise from behind, Yihan found that they were trapped. Soho tried to use his skill, Fire Fairy, but nothing happened. Yihan said that skills from Earth or planet Aruka cannot be used on planet GUCHEON. Han doesn't know the cause, but what is certain is that they have to get out of that place first. Yihan entrusts his life to Soho. Soho understood, so he didn't want to waste any more time. Soho dashed forward. With just his fists and kicks, Soho beats up every monster and takes them down with one hit. After that Soho stepped out. All the monsters that were blocking him were gone. Han really couldn't believe it. Soho's attacks were just ordinary punches and kicks that relied on pure strength. It was truly amazing. Soho came out of the dungeon, watching the view of planet GUCHEON. Soho asked if this was a monster village in front of them. Yihan confirmed it. They should leave the place quickly before the village chief chases them. Soho asks if the monster that attacked them is the village chief. The village chief swung his weapon and destroyed the place where the Soho stood. Yihan was thrown away by the effects of the attack. But Soho has jumped in to strike back. Soho hit the village chief's head with both hands. The village chief fell down instantly. Soho asked if the village chief had seen the children and the old man from the earth. The village chief replied that he had never seen them. Soho immediately destroyed the monster. Soho received a notification that he had received merit. Does this mean that Soho's level is not decreasing but rather the system is temporarily inactive? Soho asked Jahan what merit was. Jahan explained that on Earth merit is called dimensional energy. It works the same way as on Earth. But Soho can't store merit because Soho doesn't have a container. Soho had to learn basic cultivation and control of inner ki before accumulating merit. Jahan expressed his gratitude to Soho for saving his life. Jahan asked what the name of the savior was. Park Soho, an awakener from Earth, answered Soho. Jahan had never heard of Soho. There was no way a master as strong as Soho was unknown. Soho returns to discuss the promise that Jahan made earlier, to become Soho's subordinate. Jahan was forced to accept it. He had to survive whatever happened in order to avenge his revenge. Soho asks Jahan to take him to the Earth portal. Soho has to find Gunwoo and Jang's son. Han explained that the place had become a terrible battlefield. Soho didn't say much and immediately picked up Jahan. Soho sped off at full speed towards his destination. Soho and Jahan have arrived at their destination. In front of them is a dimensional portal, and there is a river that borders it. Soho felt strange. Why was there a river in such a dry place? Jahan didn't even know there was a river. This place is a contested territory between the Namgung clan and the Mirose monster. This river did not exist before. Soho tries to conclude the wyvern was successfully summoned, and maybe Gunwoo and Jangsun were taken away by the wyvern. If Soho returns to Earth, then he might have fainted. Soho asked if there should be witnesses who saw the fight around the portal, and also if the Namgung clan was hostile to Earthlings. Jahan explained that even though they were not very close, the Namgung clan would not be hostile to Earthlings without a reason. If so, Soho will immediately head to the nearest village to gather information. Jahan pointed to a tower. That was where the Mirose village was located. But then Jahan asked if Soho was going there. Soho has jumped to the other side of the river. Han reminded that the monsters in Mirose village were different from the monsters in prison. Soho also reminded that he would be back soon, asking Jahan not to try to escape from there. Jahan had no plans to escape. Besides, he was sure he wouldn't be able to escape from Soho. Han really couldn't comment when he saw an explosion. Soho beats up one of the monsters there while asking if he saw any Earthlings. Soho repeated the same question again. Monster replied that he didn't know anything. The leader of the Mirose village appears with a peak of anger. The people from Earth make a mess of their village. The leader darted and was ready to hit Soho. But Soho was not afraid at all. Soho had prepared many questions. Soho finds his system back up and running, identifying the god stone worn by the village leader. Soho's attention was diverted, and as a result Soho and the leader both landed punches in the face. Soho finally understands that the god stone can restore his system. The leader dashed towards Soho, and launched an attack that Soho managed to dodge. Counterattack, Soho left hand punch, hit the face of the leader. Soho continued to hit the village leader's chest with his right hand. The leadership is helpless. Soho has many questions to reveal. Soho started asking if the leader had ever seen a winged monster. He said never. Soho asked where the leader got the god stone. From the Earthlings was the answer. Soho had heard that the god stone was a means of conveying messages from the gods. After successfully explained and distributed throughout the world, making everyone able to see their status window, it can be concluded that the status window will not appear in places where there are no god stones, including dimensional energy. Soho could see his status window thanks to the god stone in his hand. Soho immediately used his skill, Fire Fairy, to burn down the village leader. This way Soho can use his full power. Soho checked his status window. Wyvern had not returned after being summoned. It was possible that Wyvern had managed to take Gunwo and Jang Soon away, or that they had returned to Earth. Soho couldn't use the search skill because its accuracy decreased because the Wyvern was flying in the air. The best option is for Soho to go back to Earth to check it out. But Soho gets another idea. Soho returned to where Jahan was. In one jump he arrived there. Jahan was really scared. Soho not only destroyed the prison but also the Mirose village. Soho really eliminated the strongest monster fortress near the dimensional portal. Soho's level is already above all the strongest awakeners on Earth that John knows. Maybe Soho is not an ordinary human. After checking Jahan's status, Soho believed that Jahan was a level 1 master. Soho asked about Jahan's assassin art skill. Panic, Yihan wondered how Soho could know, even though he didn't leak it. Soho simply replied that he knew everything, asking Yihan to show his assassin art skills. Whether he likes it or not, Yihan has to show it. Yihan starts to concentrate. Yihan swung his hand, showing one of his best skills. Soho didn't expect Yihan to hide his ability. Yihan explained that the target could be sure to die when Yihan used this skill. Soho stated that Yihan will be Gunwa's teacher. Yihan protested. He did not accept being made a teacher by the Earth's inhabitants. Soho gave a sharp glare that made Yihan scared and accepted Soho's request. Soho took out a book from his inventory, making Yihan even more speechless. Yihan believes that skills from Earth and planet Aruka cannot be used on planet GUCHEON. It is common knowledge that items, artifacts, skills from Earth and Aruka will not be able to pass through the dimensional portal of planet GUCHEON. Soho understood, concluding that the God Stone did not come from the planet GUCHEON. Soho found the book from the village of Mirose. Asked what was inside the book. Yihan knows it. True Body Fist Heavenly King Tempering Technique. Why is this book in Soho's hands? Soho didn't expect the book in his hand to be that good. According to Yihan, Mirim fighters value the techniques they master more than their own lives. 10 years ago, the Heavenly King Fist suddenly disappeared along with his technique. Unexpectedly, his book would be found in a place like this. Soho keeps the book back. Soho will give it to Yihan as long as Yihan goes to Earth. Soho was ready to throw Yihan, but was then interrupted by receiving a notification that the wyvern had landed on the snow mountain. Soho accidentally let go of Yihan, who fell into the water. Yihan shouted for help because he couldn't swim. Soho turns into a golden eagle and saves Yihan. Yihan couldn't believe this, wondering if he was dreaming. Soho and Yihan headed towards the snowy mountains in front of them. Soho deactivates its transformation in the air. Yihan landed quite hard, while Soho landed comfortably. Soho immediately used his tracking skill. Soho finds out that Gunwu and Jiang Sun managed to survive thanks to the help of the wyvern. Suddenly a burst of water appeared from inside the rock cliff. Yihan recognized his current location and asked Soho to move away immediately. There is a reason why the water flow appears there. It is said that there is a beast that lives in it and has defeated many monsters and Mirim fighters. Soho heard the sound of a wyvern from inside the hole where the water was coming out. Soho stepped in, leaving Yihan behind. This place is the nest of an amugi that is almost 100 years old. The white snake was fighting against the wyvern, and a swing of its tail hit the wyvern. Wyvern was thrown quite hard and hit the cave wall. Soho appears and hits the head of the white snake. Soho was emotional because the white snake was so brave in attacking his livestock. Yihan is increasingly amazed. Meanwhile, Gunwu and Jiang Sun are happy that Soho is fine. The white snake attacked, shooting a jet of water that was stronger than the Simiju. Soho was not affected in the slightest, instead he became more interested in the white snake's abilities. Soho called his friends. Above the white snake's head a portal formed. The honey bear landed comfortably on the white snake's head. And then Soho threw the white snake hard with his kick. The white snake was helpless. Wyvern approached to check on its condition. Soho felt he was a bit over the top. Soho asked the wyvern not to prey on the white snake. Because the white caterpillar's HP was only 12% left. And one bite from the wyvern would definitely send the white snake to another world. Suddenly the white snake's form disappeared and fog appeared, blocking the view. The honey bear found a small snake that was trying to escape. The honey bear caught it and was ready to chew on the white snake. Soho stopped him at the right time. A voice begged for forgiveness. Soho was shocked when he realized that the white snake could talk. He begged Soho for his life. The white snake explained that he would soon become a dragon on the 100th day. He didn't want to die a stupid death before that happened. Yihan appears and announces that the white snake has a 100-year-old energy essence. The essence of the white snake is the elixir of immortality. Countless Mirim warriors from the Central Plains seek this item. Soho understood, then asked if he had to cut the white snake's body to get it. Yihan confirmed it. Soho checked the status of the white snake, which was at SS rank. Soho was quite interested in the white snake's ability. Soho gave the white snake a choice. Whether to become Soho's subordinate or die a terrible death. Without thinking, the white snake accepted Soho's invitation. Soho asked if the small river out there was made by the white snake. The place where the white snake is located is a battlefield between monsters and humans. The white snake will come out of its nest to drink water, but the water is always polluted due to fighting. That's why the white snake got emotional, and created a small river there. And at that time Soho was accidentally carried away by the water current to where the monster was. Soho was a little disappointed. If only he had gotten the white snake sooner, then the process of making the Soho city ditch would have been faster. Soho will send the white snake back to its farm, and cure it. Soho has sent the wyvern, honey bear and white snake back home. Jihan could no longer say anything. Soho was not a human but a god who controlled all wild animals. The animal's return was greeted by Juno. Gunwo had written a message on the wyvern's stomach informing him that he was fine. Juno cried happily. After a few days there was news from his son. Gunwo immediately hugged Soho. He was happy that they could be together again. Jang's son explained that they had experienced a lot and managed to survive thanks to the help of the wyvern. Jang's son asks who the person with Soho is. Jihan immediately explains himself, but Soho cuts him off by stating that Jihan is his subordinate. Gunwoo states that he is hungry. Soho agrees, they need to rest and recharge. Soho serves a lot of food, complete with cola. They have eaten. Soho asks how many days they have been separated. Jang's son says at least 3 days. Soho asks again why they haven't returned to Earth. When they arrived here, Jang's son and Gunwoo were also swept away by the current. Luckily, Wyvern appeared to save them. Jang's son had asked the Wyvern to return to the portal, but the monsters attacked them by throwing spears, causing the Wyvern to fly away from the portal. Han stated that it was not strange. Monsters and Murim fighters were very sensitive to wild monsters. Jihan asked if the kid next to Soho was his student. Soho asks Gunwoo to greet Jihan. From then on Jihan will be Gunwoo's martial arts teacher. After finishing eating, Soho asked for the training to start immediately. Jihan looked for a way to overcome this. There was no way he could teach his techniques to the people of Earth. Jihan and Gunwoo will start their training. Jihan is still thinking about what to do. Soho didn't know anything about martial arts, so it was no problem if Jihan only taught basic cultivation. Jihan stated that he will teach Gunwoo martial arts, asking if Gunwoo is ready. Gunwoo was ready. Jihan felt the flow of energy overflowing from within Gunwoo's body. Jihan is sure that Gunwoo has practiced before. Jihan asks if Gunwoo has learned basic cultivation. Gunwoo confirms this, and explains that Jang's son is the master who taught him. Han was surprised that the Earthlings could master the basics of cultivation. Han continues the training. He holds Gunwoo's hand. Jihan will open Gunwoo's acupuncture points to teach him the flow of energy. Jihan felt that Gunwoo's energy was very clean, like the condition of a newborn baby. Gunwoo said that he felt something strange. Jihan was surprised because Gunwoo was so sensitive. Gunwoo had a natural talent in controlling ki. Jihan also felt that Gunwoo also had strong energy that could explode at any time. If Gunwoo can't control this energy, then his extraordinary talent will become poison for his body. Jihan has decided that he will teach all his abilities to Gunwoo. However, the Dang family is a closed clan that only teaches its techniques to its own members. Because of that, the only solution is for Jihan to adopt Gunwoo as his son, asking Gunwoo to repeat his words. Just as Jihan said that Gunwoo would be his son, Soho's hand appeared there. Soho slapped Jihan hard and threw him away. Of course, he couldn't accept Jihan's arbitrary attitude. Soho is really angry. He just asked Jihan to teach Gunwoo martial arts, but why did he bring up adoption? Jihan has gone too far. Jihan fainted on the spot. Soho tried to wake him up. Gunwoo was still silent looking at him. Even though Jihan has committed a violation, Gunwoo feels that Jihan is an interesting person. Gunwoo also greatly admires his uncle, who is truly strong. Juno is a good person. Since he was little he took care of Gunwoo with great affection, playing a dual role as a father and mother for Gunwoo. But Junho is always depressed. His face is always covered in wounds. He comes home drunk and always thinks about his financial condition. Gunwoo knows that. His father always hides to cry. For Gunwoo his father is really weak and a crybaby. Gunwoo doesn't want to be a weak person like his father. Gunwoo always peeks at his father when he is frustrated. Then one day, Soho, who looks younger than Junwoo, appears. For Gunwoo, this uncle is just as weak as his father. Okita Hero, Gunwoo's idol hero, was defeated by Soho even though he had turned into a monster. Gunwoo was truly amazed. His uncle had become the strongest man on earth. The strongest figure among all the strong people there are. Gunwoo's life has changed since Soho's arrival. Makes Gunwoo start to decide his goal. He wants to become a strong person like Soho. Because Gunwoo is still a child, he can't enter the dungeon. Junwoo always asks him to focus on school and study, something that is useless in this day and age, where only the strong can survive. Then Gunwoo gets his chance after meeting Jang Soon. Gunwoo started learning martial arts. He felt a warm sensation in his body, and that was the flow of ki. Gunwoo was curious whether he could get stronger with this training. Gunwoo asks Jang Soon directly for the solution to becoming strong. Jang Soon suggests him to learn martial arts on planet GUCHEON. Gunwoo pondered, was this the right solution? Could he become stronger than Soho with this training? Gunwoo was very surprised when he passed through the portal. He saw Soho, who was unconscious and helpless. Maybe, Gunwoo feels that if he can master the martial arts of planet GUCHEON, then he can be stronger than Soho. Gunwoo has decided, he will become the strongest human, surpassing Soho, becoming the strongest in the universe. The next day, they had come out of the cave. Gunwoo and Yeon were bored with Soho's fast food. They wanted to eat something else. Soho understands, following Gunwoo's wishes, he wants to catch fish. So their current destination is the nearest river. Yeon is still confused. Why did he faint yesterday? He doesn't remember anything. Soho explained that while teaching Gunwoo, Yeon suddenly fainted, probably because of exhaustion. Yeon understood, but it was something strange. Yeon continued to ask Jang Sun, where did Jang Sun learn inner strength? Is it possible that Jang Sun is a student of a master on the planet GUCHEON? Yeon asked his family name. Jang Sun only answered briefly, explaining that he was not a martial artist, just a blacksmith. But Jang Soon hasn't made anything for a long time, so his skills may have dulled. Later, when there is a chance, he intends to try. Yeon took out his dagger. His weapon had not been maintained for a long time, and asked Jang Soon to check it. Yeon continued to ask Soho, what was his purpose in coming to planet GUCHEON besides looking for a teacher for Gunwoo. Without hesitation, Soho explained that he wanted to find historical evidence and also take revenge. Jang Sun panicked. This mission should have been done secretly. Yeon continued to ask, who is the person targeted by Soho? Soho innocently said a name, Namgung Jang Cheon. Jang Sun was scared by his actions. Yeon was very shocked to hear this. Soho's target was the head of the very powerful Namgung family. Soho confirmed it, and asked Yeon if he knew him. Yeon asked Soho not to talk about it carelessly. If Yeon was still a member of the Murim Alliance, then he would immediately attack Soho. Soho's words just now were really dangerous. Soho understands, so Yeon wants to fight him. Is Yeon ready for the end of his short life? Yeon's body shook violently, asking Soho to calm down, because he didn't mean anything. It was Jang Sun's turn to ask questions, asking for more explanation about the Murim Alliance. Yeon replied that 1 year ago, Namgung Jang Cheon had been elected as the 27th leader of the Murim Alliance. Yeon guessed whether Jang Sun was the one who wanted revenge. Jang Sun couldn't deny it. Namgung Jang Cheon was his former boss. Reintroduces himself, Jang Sun Pil, who is also known as the forger of thousands of swords from the noble Namgong family. Yeon knows that Jang Sun's name is very famous, and many people want to use the weapons he made. Jang Sun asks Soho not to be too honest about their plans. There will be unwanted problems if Soho is too frank. Soho understood, but he asked everyone not to worry too much. Soho realized that he heard the sound of a waterfall. They were already close to their destination. Soho wanted to go there to catch fish. Gunwoo was very happy to hear that. Yeon looks alert. The mission that Soho and Jang Sun are carrying will make the planet GUCHEON hit by a storm of chaos. Continuing their journey, they were presented with an extraordinary view. Unexpectedly, the planet GUCHEON has such a beautiful place. This is the first time Jang Sun has visited this place. While on planet GUCHEON, he spent most of his time in the workshop. Jang Sun continued to ask, isn't Yeon's family also a member of the Murim Alliance? Yihan replied that the situation was different, but he still couldn't tell him why. Yihan continued to ask why Soho and Jang Sun wanted to know about historical evidence. There was no way they came just to look around. Jang Sun only answered that Soho was searching for his identity. It was possible that knowing about the history of planet GUCHEON could help Soho find the meaning of his existence. This was the first time Yihan had heard of someone coming to planet GUCHEON for such a reason. They arrived at a beautiful place. Soho really enjoyed this view. Gunwoo complained of hunger. Soho gives a piece of bread, asks Gunwoo to eat it while resting, while Soho goes fishing. Gunwoo wants to go with him. Soho asked him to wait, so he would go alone. Gunwoo is bored with the food. Understandably, since he has been eating it every day, they have to keep eating it until Soho comes back with the fish. Yihan was still watching Jang Sun. The legendary forge of the Namgung family was right beside him. Jang Sun is a genius who appeared 500 years after the rise of the legendary fighter Jun Donggao. He earned the nickname of the Forger of Thousands of Swords. At that time, the Namgung family experienced rapid development with the help of Jang Sun. Han is sure that with Jang Sun's help, his Dang clan can rise again. Yihan asked to make a weapon, and would make it a family treasure. Jang Sun accepted, promising that if they could borrow a workshop he would make it. Yihan felt that a glimmer of hope for his life had appeared after a long time. Below, near the waterfall, there seemed to be a banquet going on. They were discussing the wedding preparations. This man named Jang Song asked his friends not to talk about his marriage. He was always confused because of it. His age was enough to make his family demand and control too much. Soho appeared there. His arrival was immediately blocked by Jang Song's guards. Soho said that he did not come to fight, whether this place was owned by a certain group. This guard forced Soho to leave that place. If he still resisted, then he wouldn't hesitate any longer. Jang Song's shouting voice stopped their argument. Jang Song didn't want any fight to happen on this happy day. He didn't want to ruin his mood. Jang Song is also happy to get a visit from another planet's citizens. He is really grateful. Invites Soho to drink with him. Soho gladly accepted, because it sounded very interesting. Jang Song invites Soho to enter the hut, confident that the other colleagues will also accept Soho. The guard felt that their foreign guest was very dangerous. He would keep a close watch. Jang Song allowed it. The scene continues. Soho is very greedy, eating food, attracting the attention of everyone present. They did not expect to meet Earth humans in that place. Jang Song introduces himself as the 32nd grandson of the Moon clan. His grandfather is the current head of the Moon family, and the man who stopped Soho earlier was his personal bodyguard. While continuing to chew, Soho also mentioned his name, praising all the food that was really delicious. The guard felt irritated by Soho's very impolite attitude. Meanwhile, Soho himself didn't care. The other guests turned out to really like Soho's energetic personality and attractive figure, especially his extraordinary appetite. Earth humans and mammon monsters are equally fierce. Jang Song asked Soho to eat calmly, don't rush, and also didn't forget to ask Soho to enjoy his drink. This young woman pours a drink for Soho, making Soho feel awkward because he is being served by a beautiful woman. Soho didn't expect it. Not only the food but also the drinks at Planet GUCHEON are very delicious. These two guests also welcomed Soho well, even offering Soho their drinks to try. Then screams were heard. The place where they were relaxing was being attacked. The guards reported that they were visited by two Ronin who were very skilled in swordsmanship, and all three of them were immediately defeated. The situation became dangerous. The three guards looked worried, asking the Ronin not to approach. The guests who were present did not expect that they would be visited by a formidable enemy. Even the trained guards were defeated easily. The guards suspect Soho, who seems unperturbed by the situation. The guards pointed their guns at Soho, accusing the Ronin of being Soho's accomplice. Soho didn't understand what was being said. The meat was still stuck to his hand. The guard reconfirmed whether Soho knew the two-hatted Ronin. Soho didn't know them. This was the first time he had seen people with that appearance. The guard did not believe it, forcing Soho to tell the truth. Who sent Soho to come to that place? Soho reiterated that he did not know the Ronin. Soho packed up the food, asking the guards to ignore him. The guard was reminded by his colleague that Soho was indeed just a stranded visitor, and had nothing to do with the Ronin who attacked. The Ronin spoke up, asking Jang Song to surrender and come with them without resistance, guaranteeing everyone's safety. Jang Song seems to want to follow the Ronin's wishes, but his two friends prevent him. Sweet promises from a poisonous mouth cannot be trusted. Jang Song asks where the two Ronin came from, whether they were sent by someone who has a grudge against the Moon clan. The Ronin did not answer. It was better for Jang Song to remain silent and obey them, if he did not want to witness the massacre. The guards asked Jang Song to hide. There was nothing to fear from the threat of the Ronin. Soho greeted him, expressing his gratitude for the hospitality. Soho said goodbye, leaving the place, not forgetting to say congratulations on the celebration that was being held. One of the Ronin stopped Soho, asking where Soho was going. Previously this Ronin had also seen Gunwo, Yihan and Jang Sun. Since Jang Song doesn't want to cooperate, the Ronin will kill all the witnesses. Soho is really unlucky. The two Ronin decided to wipe out Soho, preparing to attack Soho from both sides. Suddenly one of the Ronin was knocked down by Soho with one blow. The Ronin was thrown far away, much to his comrade's surprise. Soho still looked stupid, not feeling the slightest danger, thankful that the food he brought was still intact, shocked because he was suddenly attacked, even though he just wanted to leave. Ronin attacks again, throwing 3 bombs at Soho, intending to limit Soho's range of vision. Then the smoke evaporated, enveloping Soho, completely trapping him. Ronin has appeared in front of Soho, praising Soho, who is an earthling with great abilities, but chose the wrong opponent. Soho responded quickly, capturing the face of the Ronin. Then threw the Ronin to the ground with such force. Ronin fell in one attack. He was still breathing, but his condition was badly injured. These 3 people were speechless, defeating the Ronin with one strike, without any extra movement and without using any weapons. Soho checked the package again. Soho's strength and speed made Jang Song and everyone with him truly amazed. Soho again warned Ronin not to disturb him. Soho would spare their lives because he was in a good mood. Unexpectedly, Gunwo, Yihan and Jang Sun followed Soho to that place. Soho asked why they didn't wait for him. Yihan instead asked why Soho was fighting with the sword Ronin. Soho didn't respond, giving the food package to Gunwo. His business was finished, so Soho wanted to leave immediately. Jang Song approaches Soho, asking him not to leave. Soho doesn't understand what he means. Is he asking him to pay for his meal? That's not what Jang Song wants. He can't just let his savior go. Jang Song prostrates himself, thanking Soho, asking for a chance to return Soho's kindness. Jang Sun explains that this attitude is typical of the Murim family, a cunning trick to attract someone to their side. Yihan added, the action taken when meeting someone great, trying to take advantage of that figure for the benefit of the family. Yihan asked Soho to ignore it. Jang Song tempts Soho with food. His family can serve delicious food that is not found on earth, especially high-quality fish dishes. This offer shakes the faith of Soho, Gunwoo and Jang Sun. Imagine a portion of delicious and shiny fried fish. Gunwoo wants to eat fish. Jang Sun wants to eat the same, especially since everything is free. Yihan refuses the offer. If it's just food they can buy it later. Soho asked Jang Song if there was any historical evidence and a workshop in his place. Jang Song explained that the Moon family is a famous big family and is included in the list of the 100 best families on the planet GUCHEON, built on a strong history, and has a complete forge and workshop. Because everything Soho needs is in Jang Song's house, Soho decides to accept Jang Song's offer. Back in the Soho area, the flying monsters that entered their area were immediately exterminated. Dongso shot all the monsters, while continuing to live stream, counting each monster he managed to defeat. Greeting his audience, Dongsu said that the hunting of flying monsters was still ongoing, thanking them for the donations he received. The Soho area is really lively. The wyvern and the white snake seem to be getting along. Below them the wolf pack continues to monitor the area, and Junho is busy writing a letter. Wrote that they were developing paper and boxes that could be used to facilitate communication with Soho. Miso comes over. Juno says that she wants to report their situation to Soho. Juno is a little frustrated because Soho rarely responds to his letters. Even though Soho is busy, at least he should still give news. Miso reassured, as long as Soho was there everything would be fine, Gunwo's safety was guaranteed. Juno understood, then asked what Miso needed from him. Miso wants to leave a message, there is something important that she has to report to Soho. Then they are distracted by Dongso's gunfire. Miso is worried about the increasing number of flying monsters visiting their territory. Juno suggests installing automatic anti-aircraft guns on their border walls. Although it's a bit troublesome and expensive, it's better than nothing, making the monsters aware that this place is the Wyvern's territory. Miso puts down her letter, asking Juno not to forget to send it to Soho. Moving to planet Gucheon, Soho and the team have arrived at Jang Song's house. Gunwoo is very happy with the various fish dishes available. Soho feels the same way, his appetite is increasing. Gunwoo asked if he could eat all the food. Jang Sun said yes, the food would taste better if eaten before it got cold. There was a look of satisfaction on their faces. Soho felt that there was something wrong with Yihan. Asked why he was so weird. Yihan was just checking his food to see if there was any poison. Soho asked him not to think too much about it, they just had to eat it. How could that be? Yihan was really alert. The Murim region was filled with poison that didn't even have a smell or aroma. Jang Sun seems to understand, asking Soho if he can also see detailed information about the food. Soho admits that everything he sees will be accompanied by additional information. Han, who heard it, was very surprised. I wonder where Soho learned that ability. Can it also be used on the planet Gucheon? Soho confirmed it. He got all of this when he awakened after returning to Earth. Han doesn't believe that all abilities that come from Earth or other planets can't be used on planet Gucheon. Soho didn't care about that, because he already had a solution. But what worried Soho more was the reason why he always fainted after going through the portal. Jang Sun suspects that the cause is an unstable balance between internal and external energy. Yihan added, it is possible. It is a natural law that if there is an imbalance between yin-yang and the 5 main elements, it will have side effects. Yihan could see that Soho's internal energy was not comparable to its external energy, which was too strong. Jang Sun suggests that Soho learn martial arts. Soho asks if it can strengthen his internal energy. Jang Sun is not sure, but it doesn't hurt to try. Jang Song comes to Soho, asks how is all the food. Gunwoo asks for more sushi. Jang Sun wants to add grilled fish. Soho compliments all the dishes are delicious. Jang Song agrees to all the requests. Jang Song also introduces the old man with him. He is the manager of the Moon family, who takes care of all household affairs. The manager thanks Soho for saving the young master of the Moon family. Han was stunned. Hearing the words young master meant that Jang Song was the grandson of the head of the family, and the heir to the Moon family. Jang Song asked his guests not to hesitate, if there was something they needed, to ask the manager directly. Soho wants to borrow their workshop. Jang Song understands, that's why he has prepared his gift. Jang Song brought a gift box and handed it to Soho. Jang Song gives Soho a processed meteorite as a gift of gratitude. Yihan and Jang soon agreed that the meteorite was of the best quality, a very valuable item. At first glance, this action seems like an attempt to return the favor, but Jang soon can smell his true intentions, perhaps because Jang Song is still young, so his intentions are clear. Jang Song insists that his life is more valuable than the meteorite, asking Soho to keep it. Soho doesn't understand whether this meteorite is really good. Yihan explains that the Murim fighters use the stone to make weapons. If Soho just accepts it, then Soho will be indirectly indebted to Jang Song. Soho paid his dues, taking out a blue crystal from his dimensional storage. Yihan was increasingly shocked, not expecting Soho to have so many precious crystals, wondering where they came from. Soho emphasized that he preferred to see historical evidence rather than get a meteorite. The manager seemed to be on alert. This situation was not going according to plan. The scene continues. The manager reports the incident to the head of the family. Soho cannot be persuaded with money, because he himself has stored a lot of treasure. The head of the family is curious about Jang Sun, whether he is really the famous forger of thousands of swords. The manager has confirmed it, one of the elders has also confirmed it, but they still have to investigate. Soho also wants to borrow the workshop, which gives them the opportunity to supervise more closely. The head of the family really did not expect that the forger of thousands of swords was a slave of the Namgung clan who disappeared 2 years ago, so what was his purpose in returning to this planet with a master from Earth? The manager also reported that there were witnesses who saw the appearance of a dragon near the dimensional portal. That moment occurred at the same time as the appearance of Earth humans. Shortly after, it was also reported that 2 Mammon villages near the portal had been wiped out. Among the humans on this Earth, there is one person from their race, named Dang Jinchul. The manager guesses that Yihan is not a surviving member of the Dang family that was exterminated. The head of the family also admitted it. The surname Dang is also widely used by people. Continued asking whether the manager had found the perpetrator of the attack on his grandson, Zhang Song. The manager has received a report. The 2 Ronin who attacked are from the Huang clan. The head of the family will retaliate for their actions, because they clearly wanted to kidnap his grandson. The head of the family ordered to send the Red Dragon group to teach the Huang clan a lesson. The head of the family also asked to fulfill all of Soho's wishes, and to closely monitor his movements. The manager understood, took his leave to carry out the order. The head of the family felt that he had received heavenly good fortune. The arrival of a guest who was a strong fighter from Earth and also a forger of thousands of swords. Back to Soho's place, Yihan asked where Soho got so many blue crystals. Zhang soon replied that they got them from the white snake's nest. At that time Yihan was unconscious. Since they had already filled up the fuel tank, Soho asked Gunwo to continue his training. Soho invites Zhang's son to join him in examining historical evidence. Soho also summoned a white snake, whose body size increased again. Soho asked the white snake to shrink his body size. Suddenly he had become a cute white caterpillar. Soho asked him to take care of Gunwo while he was gone. White snake felt that the task would be boring. Soho doesn't care, handing the white snake to Gunwo. Assigned to always be by Gunwo's side. Soho continues to move with Zhang's son. Gunwo prays that his uncle's affairs will go smoothly. Their steps stopped after a waiter appeared there, offering himself to be a Soho guide. Their journey continued. Soho could only see walls along his path. The servant explained that the wall was built to defend against incoming attacks. Soho felt that the wall was soft, not suitable as a defensive wall. The location of historical evidence is in the middle of the city, because it is a symbol of the city's development. Soho and Zhang's son were instead taken to the main house of the head of the family, a building that was quite grand and tall. Zhang soon explains that they should meet the Moon clan leader as a thank you. Soho understands, though he doesn't really care. The clan leader did not show up despite welcoming them warmly. Zhang's son was convinced that they were asked to meet him. The usual method used in the Murim world, stalling for time to secure their respective advantages. The scene continues. Soho and Zhang's son have been waiting in the living room. They are served snacks and tea. Soho confirms whether the clan leader they will meet is Zhang Song's grandfather. Zhang's son confirms it. They had been waiting for more than an hour. Even though they were welcomed well, Zhang's son realized that they were being played. Zhang's son couldn't hold it in anymore. Making the savior of the clan's heir wait for an hour was really too much. Zhang's son asked Soho to stand up and leave the place. They had been ignored and belittled. Soho still doesn't understand whether this is intentional, making him wait and waste time in vain. Even though this is not common practice in the Murim world, Zhang soon cannot accept the clan leader's treatment of Soho. They didn't make an appointment beforehand, so Soho tried to understand. But now Soho decided to go see the historical evidence. Just as they were about to move, the head of the family along with his children and grandchildren arrived in the room. Zhang Song explains to his grandfather that Soho is his savior who came from Earth. The head of the family apologized for making Soho wait too long. He was very busy with all his work. Soho understands and has no problem. Soho just walks past the head of the family. Zhang Song panicked, asking Soho to stop. He understood that his family's attitude had made Soho unhappy. Therefore, Zhang Song asked him to sit down again and talk about it properly. Soho confirmed that they had met, and there was nothing to talk about. Besides, Soho also wanted to go somewhere else. Zhang Song can't do anything anymore. Soho and Zhang soon continue their journey. Emotional head of the family, are all humans on Earth like that, or is it just Soho who is very arrogant? can't accept being ignored like this. The head of the family feels he has been degraded to the same level as trash. This cannot be allowed. Jang Song tries to calm his grandfather down, apologizing for the misunderstanding that occurred. Jang Song will go to see Soho. But his father acted differently, adding more spice, making the atmosphere more lively, stating that Soho had belittled the Moon family. Jang Song couldn't do anything else. As an obedient son, he didn't dare to fight back. The head of the family reconfirmed whether it was really Soho who had saved his life. Jang Song confirmed it. The head of the family had been insulted like this by the savior, asking what Jang Song thought of this incident. Jang Song concludes that Earth humans have a different attitude from them, so Jang Song asks his grandfather to calm his anger. It is difficult for the head of the family to justify Soho's impolite attitude, but as payment for saving his grandson's life, the head of the family will forget about Soho's actions. The head of the family gave another order, calling all the forgers in the city to gather in their place, to find out whether Jang Sun Pil was the legendary forger of thousands of swords. Close the workshop area, and prevent anyone from entering it. The head of the family also asked to call Master Xiaoga, to teach lessons to the people of the earth. Jang Song knows this figure, one of the elders of the Northern Ice Palace. Jang Song tries to ask his grandfather to reconsider this decision. The head of the family refused. He had made a decision. Besides, there was no need for him to intervene directly. Soho and Jang Sun have continued their journey. Jang Sun was very surprised that Soho openly expressed his feelings of displeasure. The longer it goes on, the more Jang Sun's admiration for Soho grows. Soho asked how much longer they had to walk, because the surroundings looked the same. Soho was afraid they would get lost. Jang Sun explained that they would arrive soon. In front of them stood the city gate, the entrance to the historical evidence. They had arrived at their destination, greeted by a rock. This stone is historical evidence, or before it was also known as the God Stone. Jang Sun asked Soho to place his hand on the stone, channel his ki and check his achievements. Soho did it right away. There was a reaction on the stone. Notification window appears, identifying user, data not found, then start checking existing code, but access code not found. Soho really didn't understand. All this time he didn't know about the access code. Soho also asked Jang Sun about this, what access code was being requested. Jang Sun also didn't know. This was the first time he had experienced something like this. Unlike Earth, where they could confirm it through the status window. When Jang Sun touched the stone, he could feel the energy in his body being concentrated in his dantian. When Jang Sun received his achievement, he could feel the concentrated energy starting to spread throughout his body, healing all his wounds as long as his merit was sufficient. Soho understood, maybe the problem was in his dantian. Just as dimensional energy is only measured after awakening, it seems that Soho must learn martial arts to accumulate merit and open his dantian. Soho has to start his training from the basics, starting with controlling his inner strength, just like the training that Gun Wu is doing. Soho has decided on his destination, so they will go back. Jang Sun also has to start working in the workshop. On Yihan's side, he is training with Gun Wu, showing one of his abilities, which is throwing kunai at his target. Gun Wu praised his great teacher. Yihan asked Gun Wu to practice his attack earlier. Without saying much, Gun Wu immediately tried it, throwing his kunai while jumping in the air. The kunai that Gun Wu threw landed right on target. Gun Wu is very happy about this, unlike Yihan who can't say anything else. Yihan had indeed suspected that Gun Wu was very talented, but this was unreasonable. Even though it wasn't perfect, he could do that attack after practicing for an hour. Gun Wu asked what Yihan thought about his abilities. It's a shame that Gun Wu is from Earth. Yihan won't praise him until Gun Wu can master the technique perfectly. Yihan and Gun Wu take back their kunai, but something strange happens. Their kunai that was stuck on the tree suddenly disappears. Soho appeared there and surprised them. Plus there was a kunai stuck in Yihan's back. Suddenly Yihan panicked, afraid that he had been suddenly attacked. Until he fainted because he couldn't bear the pressure. Gun Wu was worried about Yihan's condition. The scene continues. Yihan wakes up from his fainting. His face is pale because of a nightmare. Afraid that if he really dies, then his revenge will not come true. Soho is there, asking Yihan to calm down because he is not dead. Soho asks to be taught martial arts. Yihan felt strange. Soho was too greedy. With his great ability, Soho still wanted to learn internal energy. Soho replied that he needed to open his dantian. Han refused, because he could not teach his family's secret technique to outsiders. Soho reminded him that he had saved Yihan's life. Soho made an offer. Yihan would teach him or be beaten until he agreed. Yihan had no choice. Soho always forced and threatened him. He agreed and gave Soho a condition. Yihan will teach Soho self-defense as long as Soho calls him father. The practice has started. Soho and Yihan are focusing on practicing. Soho was curious why nothing had changed, even though he had done it according to Yihan's instructions. A 5-finger print was imprinted on Yihan's face, a soft touch from his previous request. Yihan asked if Soho felt a sensation when breathing. Soho doesn't feel it. Yihan doesn't understand. Soho is very different from Gunwoo, who is very talented. But still, Soho is a monster who has an incredibly strong external energy, as well as his skills. Soho asked if there was another more effective way. Yihan believed that Soho needed basic training for beginners. Yihan did not have another method that was suitable for Soho. Soho didn't care, prepared his hand, asked Yihan to find another method. Because he was under pressure, Yihan found an interesting idea. The scene continues. Soho with Yihan and Gunwoo are walking around the city. They are looking for a bookstore that sells martial arts books. Han reminded again that what Soho needed was basic training. Soho would not be able to learn intermediate and advanced martial arts straight away. Yihan was sure they could find beginner martial arts books at bookstores for cheap. Gunwoo found it, pointing towards the bookstore that was over there. Gunwoo immediately read the book that was there. The trader asked what book Soho and Yihan were looking for. Han explained that he was looking for a book on controlling inner energy for beginners. Is there one here? The trader immediately rushed to get some books. Yihan came to the right place. The trader has some books that are suitable for beginners. Soho has received the book, but he does not understand its contents. Yihan explains that the book contains the 3 regulations of Chiman. The merchant explained that to understand martial arts, it is necessary to regulate the mind related to the principle of self-defense itself. The book contains techniques for controlling inner energy, which are the basis of the martial arts of the planet GUCHEON. Soho understood. He looked at the contents of the book and could understand it. The merchant offers another book, Sankai Sword Technique, which can cut a dragon in 3 seconds. Combining both books can make Soho reach the top. Soho became excited with the Sankai Sword book. The merchant convinced Soho that not all training was complicated. Just with this book Soho would become a great martial artist. Yihan didn't want to hear any more nonsense, asked how much the book cost. The merchant only asked for a few silver coins. Yihan left, using the secret technique of the strongest race on earth. Feeling the price was unreasonable, the merchants panicked. Their best sellers today could run away. While Soho felt the price was quite cheap, Soho stated that he would buy both books. Yihan protested. Soho did not need to buy both books at once. The merchant praised Soho for being understanding. As a form of respect, the merchant gave a special price, 1 silver for 2 books. Soho didn't have any money from GUCHEON, so he offered to barter. The merchant agreed, as long as the item exchanged was equivalent to the book. Soho took out a sword, which he got from the monster village of Mammon. The price of this sword should be much higher than the book. The merchant became very eager. This sword was more than enough. Yihan protested. The sword was very expensive, so he couldn't just give it away. Soho didn't care. Besides, this sword was a spoil of war. They had finished the transaction. Gunwoo was busy eating his candy. Yihan still protested. The sword was a treasure for Murim fighters. Soho couldn't give it to him like that, exchanging it for a basic martial arts training book. Soho ignored Yihan, instead asking him to be quiet. Soho was registering 3 regulations of Chiman into the system. Registration was successful. Soho looked satisfied, while Yihan didn't understand. 3 regulation of Chiman, heavenly, earthly, and human reach harmony and the highest level of unification. Key breathing skill successfully added. Soho's Qigong is being made, making Soho even more cheerful. Soho finally understands. The martial arts book has the same principle as the skill book on earth. Gunwoo asks Soho to teach him, but Yihan forbids him, because Gunwoo's understanding of martial arts is much higher than Soho's. Yihan was still talking about the previous sword. They paid too much for Yihan's cheap book. Soho asked him to be quiet, because Soho was still focused on the process in his system. Finally, the Sankai sword technique was successfully registered. Soho also gets 3 sword skills. Just from the name it makes Soho very happy because it sounds very great. Yihan really didn't understand. It was surprising to see Soho so excited after learning martial arts. Soho has only learned 3 movements. This sword technique has 32 movements in total. Yihan knows this technique because he is a first-rate master. Soho wants to try it and Yihan agrees. Yihan was sure that Soho would understand what he meant after trying. Soho felt that Yihan had become arrogant now. Soho tried it. First is a straight slash, second is a sideways slash, and third is a stab. Yihan also guessed all of Soho's movements correctly. Gunwo was hysterical watching. Soho was really surprised. The technique he thought was an extraordinary technique turned out to be just an ordinary sword swing. That's why before Yihan was very confident and a little arrogant, Soho had too high hopes. Gunwo repeated Yihan's words. Soho really doesn't understand why everything has become so troublesome. They have arrived in front of the workshop. Soho is hungry, and wants to eat immediately. Gunwo is the same. There are several people guarding the workshop. The guard asked Soho to stop. They were prohibited from entering. Yihan said that they were guests. However, the guard insisted that no one was allowed to enter the workshop. Yihan felt like something was up, asking who ordered the guards to stop them from entering. The guard did not answer, and was ready to swing his sword, driving them away from the place. Yihan asked if Soho did something excessive. Soho didn't understand, and pretended not to know. Yihan tries to stop Soho's actions that will make things worse. Soho threatens the guard back. He wants to meet his subordinates. The guards were undeterred, drawing their swords, ready to attack if Soho doesn't cooperate. Yihan asked Soho to think clearly. The situation will be difficult. If Soho fights back, then Yihan and the Moon Clan will become their enemies. Not caring about it anymore, he passed all the guards while attacking them. Soho's slash hit the neck of every guard present. Gunwo and Yihan were both speechless. Soho's movements just now were very fast. All the guards fell at the same time. This is the result, even though Soho had warned him beforehand not to block his path. Yihan was afraid. The Moon Clan would make them fugitives. Besides, if this news reached the Murim Alliance, it would be even more dangerous. Soho ignored Yihan's warning. Their goal now was to get to the workshop. Yihan was curious about what was inside Soho's head. Why wasn't there the slightest bit of fear? Soho's action continues, knocking out all the guards who get in his way. Yihan no longer has any hope. Along with Soho, he also becomes a wanted fugitive. Soho again asked Yihan to calm down. No need to exaggerate the problem. The situation is still safe and under control. Soho slaughtered every guard he encountered. All Soho actions are also monitored by spies, who watch from the roof of the building. In the workshop, Jang Sun is still focused on his work. The 3 blacksmiths are amazed by Jang Sun's ability. They don't know Jang Sun's true identity yet. An earthling who can forge meteorite stones easily. The servant came with water. His name was Wang Il. He asked permission to give the water to Jang Sun. But Wang Il received an unpleasant attitude. He was pushed until he fell. Wang Il was thrown out of the place. This forge is emotional. He doesn't want Jang Sun's focus to be disturbed, let alone a lowly slave like Wang Il who is messing things up. They intend to teach Wang Il a lesson, plus they are also bored of just watching Jang Sun's performance. Outside, Wang Il meets Soho and Yihan. Soho says that he is looking for a blacksmith from Earth. Wang Il explains that Jang Sun is making a sword. Soho didn't want to disturb Jang Sun, who was focused on work, so he decided to wait for her outside until she finished. Yihan refused. There was no way they would just stay silent after causing a scene. Soho, it didn't matter, they had to wait for Jang Sun. But Yihan still insisted. No matter what, they had to leave this place as soon as possible. Soho had already slaughtered the guards of the Moon Clan. Soon the top-level masters would come to their place with full force. Soho was looking forward to it, because he was bored. Yihan really didn't understand. If Soho kept making a fuss like this, then his plan to beat up the leader of the Murim Alliance could be delayed. Wang Il, who heard this, was shocked. His guest was not just anyone. Soho emphasized that Yihan had misunderstood. Yihan asked to explain where the misunderstanding was. Soho's arrival on planet GUCHEON was not to kill the leader of the Murim Alliance, but to avenge Jiang Sun. Yihan didn't understand, and felt that there was no difference. In Soho's revenge mission, this problem cannot be solved secretly, because the leader of the alliance and all his henchmen have taken away Jiang Sun's wife and child. Soho targets everyone, be it the leader of the Murim Alliance, his family, and everyone who follows him. Soho will beat them all. Yihan and Wang Il shouted silently in unison. This plan will shake the planet GUCHEON. The trio of blacksmiths who watched Jiang Sun looking for Wang Il, they want to teach him a little lesson. They also met Soho and Yihan. The forgers changed their target. They had been given permission to beat up anyone who entered the workshop without permission. Han was frustrated. The problems kept coming. While Soho could not accept these words, Wang Il, who had just returned from fetching water, was shocked again. Soho has beaten 2 blacksmiths unconscious, while the third person is still in his hands. Soho will spare this man because he was not carrying a weapon, and did not put up any significant resistance. Soho asked for his message to be conveyed to the head of the Moon family, but Soho didn't know what to say. Ask Yihan, what is the right message to convey? Yihan didn't know either, and why did Soho ask him that? Gunwu spoke up, just say don't talk too much. Afterwards, Soho came in to see Jiang Sun. Asked if her work was quite busy. Jiang Sun needed about a week to finish everything. Soho asks Jiang Sun to focus on his task and not worry about anything. Soho will be ready to accompany him. If Jiang Sun needs anything, just tell him. Jiang Sun understands, he is currently thirsty. He asks Soho to find Wang Il and bring him drinking water. Han suspects that the Moon clan has realized Jiang Sun's true identity, convinced that they will soon be surrounded and attacked. Yihan again invites Soho to escape before it's too late. Yihan felt someone was watching their movements. Spontaneously, he threw his kunai. Yihan's weapon hit the spy's head, causing an instant KO. Yihan explains to Soho that this person is a spy who was sent before the attack, to get information about the target. Yihan keeps asking Soho to go. There is a possibility that they will be trapped using poison or other evil plans. Soho didn't respond, instead deciding to go somewhere. Yihan asked Soho where he was going in this dangerous situation. Soho wanted to destroy the Moon clan leader. Han's heart stopped beating, his breathing was blocked, his brain was unable to respond to Soho's words. In his office, the head of the family has received a report that his guard has been defeated by Soho with a single attack. Soho's movement was so fast that he didn't have time to react. Judging that Soho's ability is equal to a high-level master, Jiang Song's father couldn't believe that Earth humans had that much power, and were able to use it on planet GUCHEON. Again a servant came with an important message. Soho had beaten up 2 of the blacksmiths present and left the third one alive. Carrying a message, Soho asked the head of the family to not talk too much. Of course this term is not understood by people on planet GUCHEON. Jiang Song is sure that this term is commonly used on Earth. The guard spoke up, no matter what it meant, Soho's actions had gone too far. If they let this situation continue, then the Moon clan's honor would be tarnished in the Murim Alliance world. The head of the family decided to act alone, ordered his men to summon the Moon clan's main troops. Jiang Song's father asked the head of the family to be patient, Master Xiaoga will arrive soon. They just need to surround the workshop and observe the situation. From the beginning the head of the family intended to solve this by giving a little lesson to Soho because he is Jiang Song's savior. But seeing Soho's actions, the head of the family will execute him. Jiang Song no longer understands how the situation ended up like this, since when did this mistake start? The servant also reported that Jiang Sun's ability to process meteorites was perfect, confirming that Jiang Sun was truly the forger of thousands of swords. This news shocked everyone in the room again. The head of the family was happy to hear this. The Moon clan got the chance to make their mark in the Murim world. Unexpectedly a cat entered the room. The cat immediately ran, climbed onto the table and was ready to attack the head of the family. Instantly the magical cat had transformed into Soho, who immediately prepared his fist. This is a form of retaliation from Soho for the actions of the head of the family who acted arbitrarily. Soho boxing destroys the throne of the head of the family. But it turned out, the head of the family's movements were very fast, and he managed to escape. Soho realized that this old geezer was quite skilled at fighting. The Moon Clan guards immediately stepped in to assist the head of the family, moving together to attack Soho. But nothing had any effect. One of the guards was caught by Soho. Then Soho threw the person out of this tall building. Soho felt an increase in his power. Then Soho called his forest fairy. The next one immediately ambushed the remaining guards with a thorny root snare. The guards find it strange that an earth human can use magic. They accuse Soho of being a member of the Mammon tribe. They regret not killing Soho early on. The guard advances to attack. He will correct the mistakes he has made. Soho kicked his face instantly, not understanding a single thing the guard said. The guard was thrown against the wall, leaving Jong Song's father speechless. The old man had jumped, ready to attack Soho. His sword was ready to devour his enemy. The old man's slashing swing destroyed the floor where Soho stood. Soho dodged the attack and prepared to counterattack. The old man was still in a helpless position. Soho's kick hit the old man, who was already dead, throwing him far enough to make the old man run out of breath. Soho has approached to continue the next attack. The old man prepared a counterattack, unleashing one of his signature techniques, the Heavenly Lightning Palm. The two attacks clashed, sending out a powerful wave of energy. The old man was very sure that Soho would not be able to withstand his attack, a secret technique belonging to the Moon Clan that had been passed down through the generations. Soho was undaunted, asking the old man to prepare himself because in reality it was the old man who had to withstand his attacks. The old man began to feel the effects. Both of his hands felt pain from the pressure from the Soho. It really doesn't make sense. There was a fairly large explosion, which evaporated and eroded the room where the Soho was located. The old man was lying helplessly. Soho's strength was truly unpredictable. The old man is still in shock. His family's secret technique was defeated by a simple punch. Who is Soho really? It turns out that Soho is very impressed with the old man's technique, who can still survive, unlike the Mammon monster who was immediately destroyed on the spot. The power of a top-level master is indeed extraordinary. The old man asked what Soho would do next. Soho asked instead, hadn't the old man received his message? Soho had given a warning, and the result was death because he had acted excessively. Just as Soho's fist was about to kiss the old man's face, Jong Song shouted for him to stop. Soho asks, what does Jong Song want? Does he also want to be beaten up? Jong Song apologizes, admitting his family's defeat. Jong Song will give Soho anything he wants as long as his grandfather's life is spared. Soho agreed. This offer was tempting to him. It seemed that Soho would ask for something valuable. Back at the workshop, Yihan was on guard while relaxing by sitting on the roof of the house. Soho has returned in his weasel form. His arrival scares Yihan. Soho ensures that there will be no problems while he is gone. Han said that currently Jang Soon is still focused on work, while Gunwo is sleeping after writing a letter to his father. Han was curious about what was happening. Since Soho came to defeat the head of the family, there must be chaos. Soho had intended to end the old man's life from the start, but Jong Song gave Soho whatever he asked for as long as he spared his grandfather's life. Soho spares the old man's life after Jong Song agrees to lend him his workshop for a week, as well as a technical book. Yihan saw it. This book contained the Heavenly Lightning Palm technique, which was created by the 13th leader of the Moon Clan, after gaining enlightenment when struck by lightning. Soho makes Jong Song hand over this precious book, a technique that only the head of the Moon family can learn. Soho asked if the book had bad content. Yihan didn't answer. Instead he stated that Soho's wish would soon come true. The book contains the secret techniques of the Moon Clan. Handing it over to Soho would mean the downfall of the Moon Clan. Soon all the nearby masters and the Murim Alliance masters will come to their location. Soho must prepare to welcome the incoming guests. Soho felt that his internal energy had increased after beating the head of the family, but why couldn't he feel his dantian? Han is sure that Soho has only just felt the surface. Slowly Soho will definitely be able to feel his dantian, as long as Soho does not stop studying the 3 regulations of Chiman. Soho still doesn't understand whether he has to eliminate every opponent in order to feel a more meaningful impact. Returning to the main family residence, The head of the family was still lying weak due to experiencing key deviation. So because of that, Jang Song's father will take over the position of head of the family temporarily. There is no room for sadness, the future of their family is at stake. Jang Song feels that they must take action to deal with Jang Sun. There are many swords made by Jang Sun. If their clan members are armed with weapons made by Jang Sun, then their clan can return to glory. But the elder in front of him says that it is impossible. This plan is indeed good for their clan, but if the news reaches the Nam Gong clan, it will certainly be the end of the Moon clan. Jang Song's father decides to give news to the Nam Gong clan that the forger of thousands of swords, Jang Sun Pil, is in the Moon clan's workshop. Jang Song's father is waiting for reinforcements. If Master Xiaoga and the other masters arrive, then he will also join the fight to avenge the insult he received. Not long after, the master of the Northern Ice Palace had arrived at his destination. At the same time, Soho is reading the letter sent by Juno. Soho Guild Situation Report. Some business-related matters have been settled. There are plans to install anti-aircraft guns in an effort to strengthen defense. Special measures are needed to deal with the monster attack that plundered the supply train from the Soho area to Seoul. Also, handling the monster that attacked the Soho area from the water channel. Gunwoo comes, and has finished a letter to his father. Soho handed over the letter that Juno sent to his son. Gunwoo was really surprised why there were so many letters. Gunwoo is sure that his father is not working, and is instead focused on writing his letters. Wang Il, who heard it, felt jealous. His father never sent a letter or looked for him. Wang Il immediately announced that the food had been served. Gunwoo invites Soho to eat together. Soho refuses, asking Gunwoo to eat with Wang Il instead. Wang Il is surprised. Can a slave like him eat together with Gunwoo? Soho heard a strange statement, asked Wang Il not to be shy. Soho also asked Gunwoo to invite Yihan to eat with him. From the roof, Yihan was still monitoring the situation. Yihan was sure that it was time for the enemy to attack. There was no way the Moon family would just accept this condition. Seeing Jang Soon, who was still silent, Soho asked him to eat quickly, don't waste time. Yihan couldn't eat at a time like this, he had to always be aware of their surroundings. Suddenly an explosion occurred, ice flowers bloomed in the middle of the explosion. Han was surprised, there was only one Murim master who used ice. Master Xiaoga has arrived at the Moon family workshop, immediately asking where the man named Park Soho is. Raising his hand, Soho introduced himself, asking what Master Xiaoga needed him for. Han was under pressure, this situation was really dangerous for them, if they acted wrongly the consequences would be fatal. Master Xiaoga came to this place because he heard that Soho was a cruel demon, but his physical appearance did not reflect that. Soho was provoked. It seemed that this new opponent was tired of living. The master stated that he came to give punishment to the bastard like Soho. Previously, Zhang Xian's father had asked the master not to go alone. Soho is a high-ranking demonic who can use magic. Zhang Song's father asked to bring his troops so that they could ensure victory. Master did not accept it, felt belittled, it seemed as if he was unable to fight Soho. Zhang Song's father didn't mean it, but in reality, Soho was very strong, even the head of the Moon family couldn't fight him. The master decided that if there was even one person who followed him, the master would immediately kill them on the spot. Master didn't expect the Moon family to lose their honor because of someone like Soho. Therefore, Master will take Soho's 3 attacks without fighting back. Soho didn't understand and asked Yihan what he meant. Yihan explained that Soho could attack Master 3 times. Master's fighting style was really strange. Yihan asked Soho not to be careless, his opponent is a transcendent master who has mastered the rejuvenation technique. In addition, the master can freeze anything he wants. Soho didn't care, Soho had slid and threw a punch that hit the master's face. Master really didn't expect that the effects of the Soho attack could torture him. Soho threw the master far enough to hit the wall. Yihan still couldn't believe it, even though he saw it directly, he couldn't see Soho's movements at all. Soho asked Yihan to explain again about the rejuvenation technique. According to Yihan, the master is hundreds of years old, but with this technique he regained his youthful body. Soho understands, the concept is more or less the same as Soho. Master is still sitting and not moving. He is shaken because he can't see Soho's attack. Soho approached, and asked the master why he was silent. Even though Soho didn't hit him too hard, Master regains his composure, admitting that Soho is faster than he looks. With 2 more attacks left, Master lets Soho attack. Soho immediately welcomed it, throwing a slap to the Master's left cheek, making the Master bounce back and hit the wall. The Master was really tortured by Soho's attack. "Did my attack just now hurt that much?" Soho asked. There was still 1 more attack left. Soho moved closer. The Master asked for a little time to calm down his still shaken self. Soho doesn't care, he wants to complete the challenge given, especially after he was underestimated. The Master panicked, and accidentally used one of his techniques. Ice flowers were created around Soho, surrounding Soho and restricting his movement. Jihan shouted, asking Soho to immediately get out of the way, because the consequences could be fatal if he was hit by the attack. The Master didn't waste the opportunity, he exploded the ice flower, freezing the surrounding area. Master couldn't believe it because Soho had disappeared from his standing position. Soho had jumped up and was ready to throw a 3rd punch, protesting because the Master was not committed to his own words. The Master used his technique again, creating an ice shield. Soho's punch hit the shield and shattered it. The Master felt the heavy attack. The Master chose to dodge before the attack landed and dealt him a fatal wound. Soho approached the Master again. Soho admitted that the ice technique used by the Master was very interesting, because it utilized the humidity of the air to create ice. Master again uses his ice technique to attack Soho. Jumping into the air, Soho managed to avoid the Master's attack, but this was the opportunity the Master was looking for. Sure that Soho wouldn't be able to avoid his attack in the air, Master freezes the air, and creates ice spears to attack Soho. All the attacks were successfully avoided after Soho transformed into a golden eagle. The Master was even more surprised. Soho could turn into an animal, convinced that Soho was really a demon. Soho has returned to his human form, taking his sword. He will repay the little trick that the Master just did. Master is also not afraid, please try it Soho. Master created a sword with his ice power. Their 2 weapons clashed. The Master was very confident in the quality of his sword. Soho was so arrogant in his opinion, using ordinary weapons to fight him, they both exchanged blows and moved quickly. Soho admitted that he couldn't fight with a sword. In this way, the Master is sure that victory is in his hands. But Soho rejects this opinion. Soho's weapon froze and shattered due to the Master's sword. This is what Jihan feared, the Master could freeze anything he touched. Master is sure that soon Soho will split into 2. Soho denies it again, because he has many weapons. Soho took out another sword from his dimensional storage space. Soho immediately launched a straight slash, which hit the Master without him being able to avoid it. Closed with a stab that penetrates the body of the Master. Master really couldn't believe it, there was no way he could be defeated this easily. The Master fell in front of Soho, his life ended at that moment. This is the result of daring to cheat from the start. Soho did not like the method used by the Master, and felt that the Master deserved this insult. Soho also felt that the Sankai sword technique he learned was extraordinary. Very simple yet effective and so fast. Jihan was speechless, defeating a transcendent level Master with a beginner's sword technique. The spies who were watching the fight were also very surprised, the report they brought would definitely be hard to believe. And sure enough, a moment later when he reported the incident, Zhongxiang's father couldn't believe what he heard. The fight looked one-sided, and it was confirmed that Soho had not shown his full strength. Zhang Song was shocked, a master who had lived for hundreds of years, had fought against tens of thousands of enemies, was defeated so easily. The guard asked what Soho would do after defeating Master Xialaga, would he attack? At that time Soho ordered to send more strong masters, the fight was really fun. Soho also asked to clean up the body of Master Xialaga. After that, Soho went back into the workshop and rested. Until now, there has been no movement and no new reports. Zhang Song's father felt insulted, becoming more convinced that Soho was a pure-blooded demon descendant. So he doubted whether they could really win against Soho. The elders were sure that Soho would not make any dangerous moves, since the goal was the workshop. As long as they did not disturb him, Soho would not attack, so it was better to wait until Soho left. latest report arrives at the main residence. Grandmaster Kyosan, Monk Yanggu, Wanderer Chang Song, Sword Master Yon Hua and Maiden Changyo will arrive shortly. Moon family has high-level masters coming to attack Soho again. Got notification Soho received many new skills. Got ice forming technique, got ice sword, and other ice techniques. Soho's internal strength has also increased by 640 points. Had guessed from the beginning, Soho would get stronger after defeating the opponent at the master level. But Soho still didn't feel his dantian. He had used martial arts techniques when fighting against the previous master. Yihan asked Soho to hold out his hand. Yihan checked Soho's pulse, and found something surprising. There is no way something like this could happen. Is Soho really human? Soho asked Yihan to explain his findings. Yihan is sure that Soho's body has reached the level of immortality. Soho asks Yihan to explain in more detail. In short, Soho can synchronize with everything in the universe. Can use natural energy like inner power. Soho does not need to collect inner power. It is possible that the reason Soho did not get any information while holding the historical evidence stone was because he had not learned martial arts. This was still needed in order to open a path, even though Soho had an immortal body. The immortal body is a myth on the planet GUCHEON, and Soho has it. Yihan understands why Soho can use his abilities on the planet GUCHEON even though he doesn't master martial arts. That is also the reason why Soho was able to have such great external power since they first met in prison. 1 year ago, in order to find someone who could help him take revenge, Yihan visited Earth and joined the strongest Awakener battle, but he got nothing and returned empty-handed. At that time, Yihan had not heard the name Park Soho at all, even though there was no time difference between the planet GUCHEON and Earth. So where was Soho at that time, and where Soho actually came from, Yihan really didn't understand. Moving to the workshop, Jiang's son finally finished his work. Jiang's son made a sword, and gave it to Soho. This sword was named Goksong, which means grown. This sword is made from pure meteorite seeds, which are tens of thousands of times stronger than all the strongest materials on Earth. Soho tried the sword, and swung it a few times. Soho felt that the sword was perfect. With this sword, Soho would avenge Jiang's son, destroying his opponent to the root of the problem. Jiang's son has used all his abilities to make the sword, a sword that can realize his desire for revenge. Jiang's son always thinks about the fate of his daughter. They are separated by force, and Jiang's son is assigned to make weapons. From then until now, Jiang's son always cries and is tormented by deep regret and longing for his beloved daughter. Goksong is a sword that is made and perfected by pouring out all these feelings. Yihan ruins this touching moment, reminding Jiang's son not to forget the weapons for himself and Gunwu. Soho asked why Yihan needed new weapons. Yihan stated that the weapons were too old, and would hinder them in carrying out their revenge. Soho asked him not to interfere, because this was none of his business. Yihan refused because he was already involved. In addition, his enemy was also within the ranks of the Murim Alliance, Bajigar, who had wiped out all of John's family members. Jiang soon was shocked. Finally he understood Yihan's goal. Was his target also Namgong Jiang Cheon? No, but Yihan's target was the previous leader of the Murim Alliance, Moyong Jiaxin. Soho understood, but their goals were different. For Yihan it was the same, be it the ancestral family or the Murim Alliance. All were enemies. Soho guessed that Yihan only wanted weapons. The reason Yihan is in the Mammon tribe prison is because he tried to kill the Murim Alliance members who were being held there. But fate said otherwise, and instead brought Yihan together with Soho. God had determined that they would work together. This was really troublesome. Soho wanted to beat Yihan up right now. Jiang's son needed 2 days to make weapons for Yihan and Gunwu, only after that did they leave for their next destination. Han was very grateful for Jiang's son's understanding, not knowing how he could repay this kindness. Jiang's son didn't need it, as fellow victims of injustice they should help each other. The scene continues. That night 4 masters are gathering on the roof of the building. They are guests invited by the Moon clan to fight Soho. The 5th person who came with them had entered the place, because he was impatient. The sword master was afraid that the spear master would lose his right arm like his left arm that had been cut off. The master who uses the spear, who has been where Gunwo and Wang Yil are. Gunwo asked politely who the old man was who came at this time of night. Wang Yil asked Gunwo to run away from that place. The spear had been given permission to clean up everyone in the place. He also hadn't enjoyed the flesh of a child for a long time. Sensing danger, the white snake immediately reacted, changing its form, and eating the spearman's right arm. The spear screamed in pain. This unexpected attack caught him by surprise, besides that he had lost both of his arms. The white snake immediately devoured the spear until its existence protruded and was witnessed by the other masters. The white snake did not give any chance, immediately devouring the round spear. Soho finally realized the commotion that was happening. Yihan guessed that they had a guest. Soho was happy to hear that. The situation would become even more interesting. The remaining masters finally discovered the whereabouts of Soho, an earthling carrying a large sword. Maiden immediately shot towards Soho. She didn't want her target to be taken by another master. But the monk didn't want to be left behind. Hunting demons was his duty, asking the maiden not to interfere. At the main residence, Zhang Song and all his clan members receive a report that the battle has begun. With 5 masters against 1 Soho, father was confident that they would win this fight. They had also placed troops around the workshop area, who would act to secure the situation. Father is increasingly convinced that the Moon family's good name will be restored, and make them sink their teeth into the top of the Murim world. But the reality said otherwise. The servants were packing the bodies of the masters who had been defeated in Soho. Dad really couldn't accept this reality anymore. All his efforts ended in failure. Back to Soho, he got so many new skills, and all of them are skills of the master he just defeated. The advantage that makes Soho smile. This way Soho will continue to grow stronger and get many other high-level skills. Yihan congratulated him because Soho's wish had come true. It was certain that Soho had become a common enemy of the Murim alliance. Soho was not afraid because what else could he do? Not long after that, a company of troops who were members of the clan belonging to the Spear Master came to seek revenge on Soho. Soho was really happy. Yihan's words were very effective. Yihan was confused. Why did those stupid people want to end their lives? A moment later, a company of troops had fallen asleep in their coffins after being defeated by Soho. Even though they had quite a great power, including 3 Supreme Masters, 17 Grand Masters, and 25 Level 1 Masters. Zhang Song's father did not want to act rashly anymore. This situation was very dangerous for the Moon clan. They could be attacked by other clans at any time. It was indeed very unpleasant, but they had no choice. The elder advised Zhang Song and his father to hide, because with the current situation, there was a possibility that the blood demon or Soho would target them. The father couldn't do that. Leaving their residence with the head of the family lying down was a shameful decision. But the elders can't let the Moon clan's survival end. Right now the most important thing is the future of the Moon clan. The elders have prepared a horse carriage to carry father and Zhang Song. Father understands, ensuring Zhang Song's safety is their priority for now. Blood Demon proves that its power is unstoppable and cannot be fought by the Moon clan alone. Father asks to send information about Blood Demon to the Murim Alliance. A few days passed. Jiang Sun had finished the weapons for Yihan and Gunwu. Yihan was really happy. The weapons were so shiny. Not only simple but also very sharp, effective, and so useful. Truly a masterpiece. Because their business had been resolved, Soho decided to immediately leave that place. According to Yihan, they have to find a horse-drawn carriage, because Jiang Sun's condition looks dangerous. He has really worked hard to make weapons. But where can they get a carriage? Wang Il appears with good news. He can get a carriage and is willing to take Soho to his destination. The scene continues. Wang Il is in charge of driving the horse carriage. It seems he is quite skilled. Yihan asked if Wang Il knew where they were going. Wang Il knew exactly, but this is what made Yihan feel strange, because Wang Il knew the risks but still insisted on coming along. Wang Il has his own reasons. His father dedicated his life as a slave to the Moon clan but ended miserably because of one mistake he made. Wang Il knows that great danger awaits him if he gets involved in Soho's group, but Wang Il chooses to do it anyway. If his life is destined to be a slave forever, then he will choose to serve a worthy master. Wang Il asks where they are going now. Soho wants to go to the historical evidence again. He wants to confirm something. The other horse-drawn carriages noticed Wang Il and his team's arrival, due to their high speed. The coachman reported to Zhang Song, who was in the carriage, that the carriage was approaching them. when he saw it. Jang Song was very surprised. His father asked if Jang Song knew the two people he saw, namely Wang Il and Yihan. Jang Song is sure that Soho and his team are on the train. Immediately, my father asked the coachman to increase the speed of the horse-drawn carriage. The coachman saved himself, because they were on the bridge. The coachman decided to jump into the river. Father couldn't accept this, the situation was really chaotic. Jang Song asks what they should do, as Soho is getting closer. What he didn't expect was that his father also chose to run away to save himself. The Soho train and the team just passed by, with no intention of doing anything. Yihan felt amused seeing Jang Song and his father's behavior. The comfort of life made them lose their sanity. On the battlefield, the leader of the Murim alliance, Nam Gongjang Cheon, has just defeated the leader of the Mammon monsters. This victory was welcomed with joy by everyone present. Their struggle bore sweet fruit. Grandpa Nam received a report that the entire area where they fought had been cleared, and all the escaped Mammons had also been exterminated. Grandpa Nam continued to ask the name of the young man who was near him. This man is named Yangun Sioman, the leader of the 7th unit of the Hyanmo army. Grandpa Nam decided to give the territory to Yangun Sioman, as a reward for his hard work. A soldier arrives with urgent news, which of course ruins the ongoing ceremony. Grandpa Nam was curious about what news was so urgent that it disturbed his happiness. It is rumored that the forger of thousands of swords, Jang Sun Pil, worked together with the blood demons from Earth, carrying out a massacre in the Moon Clan's territory. Grandpa Nam was quite shocked, because he just found out that Jang Sun was still alive. Grandpa Nam thought that Jang Sun had died because he had drowned in despair, and is currently working with the Blood Moon to disrupt planet GUCHEON. It is true that recently there have been more creatures who can use magic than martial arts. The Murim artists and Mammon monsters who defeat them still get additional merit. Among these creatures, there is a demonic who carries out indiscriminate slaughter with his extraordinary strength, nicknamed the Blood Demon. Until now, the Blood Demon has not been defeated, and the Murim Alliance has formed a group to hunt him down. So because of that, Grandpa Nam couldn't believe that Jang Sun was working with a Blood Demon. It was something that couldn't possibly happen. Grandpa Nam ordered his men to send spies and monitor Jang Sun and Soho's movements. Until the situation becomes clear, Grandpa Nam will observe first. Back at Soho's position, Wang Il stopped his horse because something was blocking it. Gunwo also peeked out and found that his opponent was covered in hair on his face. Yihan felt that it would be troublesome if it was not immediately taken care of. This stocky man is the king of the mountain. He is the leader of the pirate gang that inhabits the area. The king of the mountain asked Yihan to pay a ticket to be allowed to pass. Yihan reported to Soho that they were ambushed by mountain bandits. Soho asked him to clean it up, and Yihan gladly accepted. Gunwo volunteered to help, and showed the results of his training. Soho forbade it. It was better for Gunwo to just watch. The king of the mountain shouted again, asking everyone in the carriage to get out of it. The mountain king's troops came out of hiding. Together they would destroy Soho's horse carriage. Yihan came down and asked everyone to calm down. He had just received a special gift, intending to give it to the mountain king. Impressed by this, the mountain king asked what gift Yihan meant. Yihan jumped and immediately launched his attack. The gift in question was a new weapon that he got from Jang Sun. Han's dagger pierced the head of the mountain king and all his men. Yihan praised the quality of the weapons made by Jang Sun. Their sharpness was truly unmatched. An arrow was shot at Yihan. The archer was hiding among the leaves. Yihan was at a loss for words. He didn't expect an archer to be waiting for him. Unexpectedly, the arrow was destroyed by a dagger throw. Gunwo appeared at the right time. His attack managed to save his master. Their joy didn't last long. 3 arrows shot towards them. Soho creates a shield made of ice to protect Gunwu and Yihan. Soho was very happy. The skills he got from Master Sialga were really useful. Then Yihan and Gunwu worked together to carry out a combination attack. Their kunai throws succeeded in taking down several archers who were hiding. Soho praised Gunwu's great abilities. His training has paid off. Soho also praised Yihan, a level 1 master who is very good at teaching. Gunwo invites Yihan to take back the daggers they threw. Yihan still couldn't believe it. Gunwo managed to hit the moving arrow so accurately. Soho approached and asked why Yihan was still silent. Yihan was still amazed by Gunwo's abilities. Gunwo suddenly cried, surprising Yihan. Gunwo threw his 2 daggers in that direction, but Gunwo only found 1 dagger. Soho immediately responded by calling his wolf pack. Yihan was shocked again. This was the first time he saw this Soho pet. Meanwhile, Gunwo was very happy because he hadn't seen him for a long time. Soho gives orders to the wolf to accompany Gunwo to find his dagger. Soho was also very happy. It had been a long time since he had seen his wolf pack. Soho received another letter from Juno. Soho has found a place to read the letters he received. Soho Guild's latest report, a level 5 dungeon appeared in the Namyangju area. The supply train departing from Namyangju to Seoul is attacked by goblin monsters. The monsters that attack through the water channels also continue to increase. A full force is needed to deal with this. Soho area is in danger. Guild members are unable to handle monster attacks. Juno asks Soho to send many beast monsters and come back quickly. If Soho still doesn't give an answer, then Juno will be forced to work with other guilds to help them. Juno also asked Soho not to summon the wyvern to his place, because they were facing an attack by flying monsters. Soho understands the conditions. If the number of prey increases, then Soho only needs to increase the number of hunters. Soho asked Yihan where they could find the beast monster. According to Yihan, they just need to go to the Nanman area. Soho asked again how far the location was. Yihan knew a shortcut there, and became Soho's guide. Soho immediately wrote a letter, stating clearly that he would send help, and forbade Juno from asking for help from other guilds. Gunwo finally found the dagger he was looking for. In the tree, spies were watching all of Gunwo and the others' movements. Carrier pigeons were sent to deliver news to Nam's grandfather, who was on the battlefield. Grandpa Nam has found out that Soho is moving to Nanman. It is also reported that Soho can summon pets. Is it possible that Soho is the beast master? It's not certain yet, but they have to be prepared. The route that Soho takes will pass through the Haemu sect's territory, a perfect location for an ambush. Grandpa Nam wants to know the leader of the sect. His name is Haemu Chun, a slightly stupid and impatient person, but he has enough strength, including a peak-level master. Grandpa Nam wasn't sure they could work together, preferring to look for their people from nearby locations. His aide replied that there was a volcanic sect and several top masters nearby, who could be ordered to control Haemu Chun. Grandpa Nam firmly stated that they must eradicate the blood demon, and capture Jang Soon alive. The order will be carried out immediately, the adjutant replied. The train carrying Soho continues to move. Wang Il remains faithful to drive the train. Soho feels that the techniques taught by Yihan to Gunwo are still lacking. He asks Yihan to teach him swordsmanship so that Gunwo can complete low-level dungeons. According to Yihan, it is difficult to do. The best way to learn martial arts is to take the techniques of the defeated enemy and study them, just like Soho did. Meaning they need a sword master to be Gunwo's opponent. But Yihan asked if Soho was sure about doing this. Soho is sure that Juno will oppose it, but Gunwo needs to learn how to hunt and survive from a young age. Jang soon suggested that they look for a place to rest, because it was already night and Wang Il must be tired. Yihan said that soon they will arrive at the village belonging to the Haemu sect. They can rest there. This sect is not affiliated with the Murim Alliance, but they are not friendly to strangers either. Yihan guarantees that by giving them some meteorite seeds, they will get food and a comfortable place to rest. After all, they had to cross the village to get to Nanman. The horse-drawn carriage is crossing the bridge and is about to enter the village. From under the bridge came out someone who was spying on the train. These people look very dangerous. They want to loot Soho. Wang Il continued to drive his horse-drawn carriage. He found the village in front of him looked so quiet, as if it had been abandoned by its residents. A man suddenly landed on the road and blocked Wang Il's horse's steps. An old man with a scary look, which immediately made Wang Il scared and screamed as loud as possible. Wang Il directed his horse to kick the old man. The passengers inside were also shocked, because the train shook quite hard. Soho and Yihan got off the train, asking Wang Il what happened. Still shaking with fear, Wang Il replied that he had just seen a ghost. Yihan immediately checked and found that Wang Il had just hit an old man. Soho also realized that the old man was still alive, even though he was slightly injured. The old man stood up again, his body no longer able to keep up with his ego. Wang Il felt very guilty, apologized and asked how the old man was doing. There was a time when thousands of soldiers were afraid when they saw the back of the old man, but now he is very old. Wang Il decides to go back to the train. Soho asks if the old man is a martial artist. Yihan feels like he has seen the old man's face before. The old man asked loudly whether Soho was the famous blood demon. Han finally remembered, the old man was the supreme master of the Gabang. Soho explains that the old man was wrong, he is not a blood demon, but Park Soho. The old man could feel that Soho was different from the blood demons he had ever met. Soho didn't understand why he was always accused of being a blood demon. Yihan asked Soho to be careful, the old man was a supreme master who had defeated many Mammon monsters. Yihan also added that the old man was a member of the Murim Alliance. Soho understood, and decided to finish off the old man's remaining life. Drawing his sword, the old man wanted to see if Soho was as strong as the rumors said and worthy of the title of Blood Demon. Soho had already dashed over, and threw a punch that hit the old man's chin, explaining that he was not a blood demon. The old man flew helplessly in the air. Gunwo was so amazed by his uncle's speed. Meanwhile, Yihan and Wang Il couldn't see Soho's movements. Soho got a slash on his vest, acknowledging the old man's ability to still swing his sword at such a short time. Soho had jumped and approached the old man, intending to end this fight immediately. The old man was thrown so hard onto the ground by Soho's kick. Gunwo was very proud, while Yihan looked pale. Their situation would get worse if the old man died. Suddenly plum blossoms filled the air around the carriage. Yihan recognized this sign, the emergence of the MANHWA sect. On the roof of the building, a group of troops had lined up. Yihan did not expect that the MANHWA sect and the Master Supreme Gabang would appear in this village at the same time, which meant that the leader of the Murim Alliance had issued an execution order. The leader of the troop was quite surprised because the legendary Supreme Master could not withstand the Blood Demon's attack. Could it be that the attack was very powerful? Yihan knew this leader, the first swordsman of the MANHWA sect, Zhu Jiajin. The perpetrator who slaughtered Yihan's entire family. Jiajin was so arrogant, insulting the Dang family's technique which was meaningless. At that time, Yihan could only hide, crying as he could only witness the cruelty. The eternal enemy of Yihan and his clan, is now in that place. Yihan loses his cool. Soho is once again visited by guests, flocking towards Soho. The Axeman and his troops intend to capture Soho to get a reward. Soho felt disturbed, why did everyone he met always call him Blood Demon? The Axeman actually didn't really care about the prize, the Axeman was tempted to eat the flesh of the Blood Demon. Soho asked Yihan whether the person in front of him was a member of the Hamu sect who was acting very strangely. Yihan admitted it, his opponent had been tempted by the sweet promises that were binding. Jiajin states a message from the leader of the Murim Alliance, the lives of Yihan, Wang Il and Gunwu will be spared if they hand over the Blood Demon. The axe didn't care about the order, the axe intended to catch everyone there and eat them. This is what Jiajin was afraid of from the start, these barbaric humans would be uncontrollable. Previously during negotiations, Axe asked what he would get after defeating the Blood Demon and capturing the Smith of Thousands of Swords. Jiajin had heard that Capac was having trouble getting Earth human meat. Jiajin promised to provide a lot of meat if Capac would cooperate. At first, Axe agreed, but after seeing Soho, he couldn't hold back his appetite. Jiajin had also suspected this, therefore he ordered his men to stop the Axe and its members, they must not let the Forger of Thousands of Swords be killed. Soho was in the middle of this crowd, still looking so calm in the face of attacks from his enemies. Yihan asks Gunwo to hide in the train, there are too many enemies. Meanwhile Gunwo is very happy with this situation. Soho doesn't understand why everyone is surrounding him, but this was enough to arouse joy in his heart. Soho made changes. The axe was ready to swing his weapon. He wanted to taste the flesh of the Blood Demon that came from the earth. Soho had transformed into a white wolf, in one grab, caught the axe head and threw it away, confirming that he was not a blood demon. The white snake also acted to overthrow the existing troops. Jiajin was surprised by the sudden appearance of a white snake in the village. Yihan appeared there, and was ready to attack Jajin. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Han threw dozens of his kunai towards Jajin. But all the attacks were useless in the slightest. Jajin brushed off all the kunai that came. Han was shocked and couldn't believe it, while Jajin didn't know who his opponent was. Soho took out his sword, wanting to prove whether it was true that his new sword could defeat many opponents at once. The Soho slash was delivered, and managed to split the body of the axe member into 2 parts. Jang Sun cried happily. The sword he made was successfully used to its full potential by Soho, the sword that will be used to seek justice. Soho is also very satisfied with the quality of his new sword. In addition, the White Snake has also wiped out all the existing troops. Soho was shocked by the appearance of Yihan, who ran away in fear. Soho asked why Yihan was running. Shouldn't he be cleaning up the enemies over there? Yihan explained that his opponent was a supreme master, a swordsman from the MANHWA sect, the perfect target as Soho had previously desired. Jajin appears, and launches a slash, but Soho manages to block it. Soho praised Jajin for his fast movements, asking if Jajin was very skilled in using his sword. Jajin didn't really understand, but he had decided to clean up the Soho first, then finish what was left. Soho became very excited to hear it, inviting Jajin to try it. Jajin launched a series of attacks, but Soho was still able to hold them off. Their movements were very fast. Yihan asked Soho to be careful. Soho's sword technique would not be able to match Jajin's sword. This time, Jajin's slash managed to create a gap in Soho's defense. Jajin sends a stab, but Soho blocks it with an ice shield. Jajin was quite surprised that Soho could use skills like this. Now it was Soho's turn to attack. Soho's slash cut Jajin's chest. But it was not enough to defeat Jajin, who became offended and furious because Soho used low-level sword techniques against him. Jajin sends his slash, Wild Horse Manhwa technique. Horse energy line charges Soho. Continued with the next technique, Manhwa Wild Eagle. This attack hit Soho squarely. Soho was thrown quite far, landing in an empty building. Jajin feels Soho becomes arrogant because he has defeated the Elder of the Ice Palace, Master Sialga. The Murim Alliance contains people who are stronger than him. Yihan panicked. There was no way Soho would lose. But Yihan also realized that being hit by Jajin's attack directly could cause fatal injuries that could lead to death. Jajin realized that Yihan was hiding. He liked the shocked expression on Yihan's face. Jajin will clean up after everyone after he finishes his fight with Soho. Yihan was shaking with fear. His greatest enemy was standing before him, but Yihan's body refused to move. Soho was in trouble. He really lost in a sword fight. Where he landed, Soho found many skeletons. So curious who kept them, and why there were so many. Soho remembered that Axe had previously said that he liked to eat the flesh of Earth humans. If so, these bones were the victims that had been digested. Before the big disaster happened, Soho thought that interacting and working together with other humans was a very troublesome activity. But after Soho was deported to another world, Soho began to miss the presence of humans. After 1,000 years passed, Soho was finally able to meet humans again. Currently, humans are surviving in a dangerous situation, competing with each other to get their needs, which makes human relationships increasingly troublesome. But seeing so many helpless victims like this, Soho felt a strange feeling that made him uncomfortable. Soho finally understood, this was not an ordinary feeling, but rather, hatred and anger towards the enemy who preyed on the people of Earth. Jajin has arrived, asking if his opponent's blood demon is still alive, because Jajin will separate his head to be brought as evidence. Soho said that the place they were standing in now was making them uncontrollable. I don't know what caused Soho to feel this kind of anxiety, a feeling of pity, compassion and concern for fellow humans on Earth. Soho thanks Jajin. Thanks to him, Soho can realize his current situation. Jajin also seemed to understand whether the blood demon in front of him would avenge the human beings on Earth who had been victims. Whether the blood demon had the ability to do so. For Jajin, Soho was nothing more than a soft target for his sword swings. Jajin had jumped to attack Soho. This time I will end this useless fight. Soho immediately responded by catching Jajin's right hand. Soho's movement went unnoticed by Jajin. Soho crushed Jajin's wrist until his sword fell out. Jajin was really at a loss. He could only scream and was unable to reply. Soho continued to throw a punch that hit Jajin squarely in the face. Soho's fist print left a mark on Jajin's face. This punch also knocked out Jajin's teeth. Soho will give Jajin an interesting experience, feeling the feeling of being a fugitive. The Jajin was then thrown into the air, flying through the roof. The white snake caught the Jajin with its mouth, part of its body had felt the mouth part of the white snake. Yihan and Gunwo approached, showing admiration for the great Soho. Soho asked the white snake to vomit the Jajin. Immediately the Jajin was thrown away until it was helpless. Soho asks Jajin to run away. Soho promises to spare his life if Jajin manages to survive and escape from his pursuit. Jajin understood. This was the meaning of Soho's previous statement. Jajin felt that Soho was a very interesting human being on Earth. Soho decides that from now on, Jajin will be Gunwo's target, so please hunt him down. Jajin immediately ran away as fast as lightning. As a sword master, of course his movements were very fast. Promised that he would avenge Soho's actions. Gunwo and Yihan were ready in their positions, with kunai in hand. Soho created a wall of fire, to block Jajin's escape path. Gunwo and Yihan threw their kunai together. This attack penetrated various parts of the Jajin's body, which of course immediately sent him to another world. Jajin's body fell and was about to be burned to the ground by Soho's fire wall. Han panicked. They had to take the manhwa sex sword technique book held by Jajin. The golden opportunity to train Gunwo in sword skills would be lost. Gunwo moved so quickly, taking the Jajin technique book from the fire, and managed to get it intact. Yihan was amazed. Gunwo's movement was so fast. When did he learn such movement techniques? From inside the building, the old grandfather was still monitoring Soho's movements. Gunwo studied while reading a book when they stopped by the bookstore the other day. Yihan asked him to talk when he had learned the latest technique. Soho senses that someone is still alive and watching over them. Soho immediately burned down the building where the old man was hiding. The old man was pale with fear. Soho was quite amazed, seeing the old man still alive after being hit by his attack. Soho asks the old man to deliver a message to Namgong GUCHEON. Soho will defeat him after his business is done. So asks the leader of this alliance to patiently wait for his turn. Not long after, a carrier pigeon carrying a message arrived at the location of the leader of the Murim alliance. Namgong GUCHEON immediately read the message. The Huma sect and manhwa sect troops have been completely wiped out by the blood demons. Their main target is the leader of the Murim alliance. The blood demons have moved towards Nanman. Grandpa Nam immediately panicked. Issued an order to invite all sect leaders. Grandpa Nam wanted to hold an emergency disaster response meeting for the blood demon attack.